Hornets, Dr. Lori Travers, Travers LASIK. See what you've been missing.
At the V Foundation, V is for victory over cancer. V is for victory over giving up.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up.
Join our team in the fight against cancer at V.org.
Febreze.
Fabric Talk.
Hey, it's me, your couch. Today's my favorite day of the week, Febreze Fabric Spray Day. The occasional deep cleans are nice, but in between, you know I'm needing a refresh. Ooh, here she comes with the Febreze Fabric Spray. Oh yeah, spritz them armrests. Don't be shy. Nothing like a good spray down to get me smelling so fresh and clean. Don't forget my back. Nice. Febreze Fabric Spray. It's just that easy. Now we can both breathe happy. Febreze. La 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 la.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm Injury Lawyers.
He scores! What a comeback!
Visit GotBryan.com. That's GotBryan.com.
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on radio, web, app, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. A hot one out there one more time. We have a heat advisory for today. It's going to feel more like 107 with a high of 96 and just a small chance of late afternoon or evening thunderstorms. 75 overnight tonight, and then tomorrow's a little cooler. A high of 93. The heat index will be a bit lower, so no heat advisory likely. And we do have a slightly better chance for storms and then a much better chance for some rain on Friday.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb and Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 3 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones is up 244 points to 39,536. Market update brought to you by Gregory Pool Equipment Company. Gregory Pool Equipment Company is hosting a hiring event at their Barrow Road location in Raleigh, July 13th from 9 a.m. to noon. Paid training and a generous benefits package. More info at gregorypool.com/careers.
Love guarded by Keels, gets a screen, pulls up for three. Got it! Caleb from straight away! Jones with one. Jones puts it up at the buzzer. Yes! He ties the game!
Johnny with a long rebound, kicks ahead to Smith. 3-ball, right side.
Bang!
Shotgun snap. Bryce Young, pressure off the backside. Throw to the end zone. Chark pulls it in with his fingertips.
And another chance, and the save's made by Anderson. And the fans will tell you, did you have a good night?
On Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Dennis Cox, by the way, pulling a doubleheader today.
That's right.
You probably just heard him on the Adam Gold Show on 99.9 The Fan producing. He's going to stick around, produce our show. And I'm Tim Donnelly here on The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. I have a bone to pick with you.
With me?
With you.
Why? What'd I do?
Because the other day you said there were 30 days until the Panthers preseason starts.
Yeah, their first preseason game. Yeah, it was yesterday.
And now it's 29, and my brain, now every day for the next 30 days, I know how I'm going to be. It's not going to be a Wednesday for me anymore. It's not going to be July 10th. It's going to be 29 days until NFL football action for the Carolina Panthers.
Oh, okay.
You just.
Well, 2 weeks from today is their first practice for this for training camp.
Great.
2 weeks from
Another
today.
way to think about it.
We're going to be in Charlotte.
We are going to be in Charlotte. It's going to be fun. There's going to be a lot going on.
There's a lot. Everything's happening in Charlotte over the next 2 weeks. Yeah, Copa America semifinal taking place
ACC
today.
kickoff. There's the Panthers getting started. There's, I'm sure, other things in Charlotte.
I'm sure. A lot of things going on down there.
We'll be there. Not quite yet, but we'll be there in a couple weeks. The other thing about the Panthers season getting closer is you're starting to kind of wrap up your feelings on the offseason, right? There's not that much you can do. You start looking at it as a whole. I was watching the Hard Knocks, Giants off-season Hard Knocks, which, by the way, I think they could just name it something different. They now have off-season Hard Knocks, they have preseason Hard Knocks, they have in-season Hard Knocks with 4 different teams in-season Hard Knocks. It's like the whole Hard Knocks universe. It's like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the Hard Knocks HBO universe. I was watching it. Panthers, they got so fleeced by the Giants. And I hate seeing – ignorance is bliss. There's a point in time where I looked at the Brian Burns trade and I went, you know what? It feels like they should have been able to get more, but I guess not. Right? And just because we weren't in the room where the decision was made, you kind of had to leave some up to chance. I was watching Hard Knocks. The Giants, I don't even know how they got the return that they gave up for Brian Burns as low as they did, because they weren't expecting anything near it. We talked about this a little bit when they put out the trailer for the offseason Hard Knocks, the little preview, and they showed Joe Shane, the GM of the Giants, and Dan Morgan, the GM of the Panthers, talking down at the Senior Bowl. And, Dan Morgan started, hey, you want to give me 2 firsts for Burns? And I was going, how the heck did they start at 2 firsts for Burns and end at 2 seconds? So I'm watching it, right? And they have 2 episodes out. I watched them both last night. And I'm sitting there watching and I'm paying attention. It's so much worse. So much worse. First of all, Joe Shane, the GM of the Giants, and Dan Morgan are like best friends. They go on vacations together. Their families are friends. Their wives are friends. They talk. Dan Morgan said I don't know if Dan Morgan knew all of this was being recorded for Hard Knocks because the Panthers weren't on Hard Knocks. The Giants were. But he said, we talk every day. We talk every day. Joe Shane jokingly was like, hey, congrats on the new job, Dan, to Dan Morgan at the Senior Bowl. And Dan laughed and said, as if we don't talk every day. This is why I don't want Eric Tulsky doing any deals with Don Waddell. In a friendship that the more experienced GM is going to swindle the less experienced GM every time. In the Giants, war room, whatever they call it, the draft prep room, the trade prep room, right? The big room that gets everybody in the same room. They were going through their options at edge rusher. They had established they needed more help on the defensive line. Ironically, because they want to unleash a guy from right around here. They want to unleash Dexter Lawrence. And they thought they either needed another premier pass-rushing interior defensive lineman or an edge rusher that would draw attention and free up Dexter Lawrence in the middle. So that was their priority. And they were going through all the options, right? Hey, this guy played well last year. Do we think he could level up? Blah, 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 blah. They got to Brian Burns. And Joe Shane looked at his guy, right? Because they all have their guy, right? For my cap guy, my scout guy, whatever. Looked at his guy and said, what would it take for us to get Brian Burns? There's no Panther in the room. There's no posturing. There's no reason for him to say, when you throw out the first number in a negotiation, you always want it to be super, favorable to you because you figure you're going to negotiate back. Right? You're selling a car that's worth $10,000. Someone's like, what are you selling it for? You're like $18,000, knowing you're going to come down. There was no reason to do any of that. It was just giants in the room. He said, at least a 1 plus. When there was no reason to lie, the Giants were starting their conversations on what they'd have to get Brian Burns with a first-round draft pick plus. A first-round draft pick and more. They ended up paying no first-rounders for Brian Burns. 0. How does that happen? Other than once they got into the negotiation process, Joe Shane just bullied his friend. He just looked at a guy who worked for him, played under him. Right? Joe Shane was in the Panthers front office when Dan Morgan was a player. Took a guy that was, maybe even a mentee, and bullied him. Brian Burns, by the way, that the ESPN poll that we talked about yesterday, where they polled executives and other coaches and everything else to rank positions, Brian Burns is a top 10 edge rusher in the league, according to executives and coaches around the league. That is a premier position, top 10 player at his position, and you got swindled in giving him up. This is making me rethink the Panthers offseason. There were a lot of things I liked. Deontay Johnson trade I liked. Some of the things they did in the draft I liked. Love the 4th-round pick. How in the world can a 4th-round pick of Jadavian Sanders truly change the way I think of the offseason when you had a top 10 player at a premier position and you botched getting value back for him? Right? What? By the way, credit to whoever makes Hard Knocks. They got unbelievable access to what the Giants had going on. Like unreal fly-on-the-wall stuff. Congratulations to them. But what it did was it completely lifted the cloud of cover, right? It completely lifted our benefit of the doubt, right? I don't know how, I guess it seems like a top 10 edge rusher who they immediately made one of the highest paid players on the defensive side of the football in NFL history should have been able to bring back more than 2 seconds and a couple of late round, but maybe not. Right? Maybe it was because he wasn't under contract. Maybe they weren't able to get that much. Then they showed the Giants casually saying, like, yeah, 1+. It almost seemed like the Giants were going, and this is reading body language now, not exact words. It sounded like they were going, I hope we could get him for 1 and change. I hope we could get him for first round. Instead, no first rounders.
Ended up being a 2nd and a 5th.
What are we doing here? There's and just the relationship between the GMs made me feel a little awkward. And there was Brandon, like the funny part was, because they all have a connection. Like there's a coaching tree, there's a front office tree. Dan Morgan, Joe Shane, and Bean, Brandon Bean from the Bills are all kind of part of that. They were all here in Carolina at one point in time together. So they were all standing next to each other at the Senior Bowl. And as soon as Dan Morgan started talking Brian Burns, and you could see Joe Shane working him, the Giants GM, laughing and, oh, well, you're moving in the right direction, and being a little chummy, but also driving Dan where he wants to drive him, you saw Brandon Bean almost disconnect and look away, like, oh, man. Right? Like I can't step in and defend Dan here, but like looking away from like a train accident or something once you realize it's on the tracks and there's nothing that's going to be able to happen. I love Hard Knocks. I hate what it did to my opinion of this trade. I'm watching it going, no, he did not just say a first. No. It's exactly what he said. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We're going to take a break, but when we come back, 99 questions about the college football season. We're asking a question a day all the way up to college football kickoff. The next question coming up.
It's the summer of soccer.
Swiderski for Capetti. It's stolen away by Hack. Hit the line by Gaines. A shot. He scores!
All the saves.
Polina with brilliant quick footwork across his 6-yard box to be able to recover and grab the strike from Kubo.
All the goals.
He just sends it back into the area for Swiderski. One touch. He scores!
The Triangle's home for Charlotte FC action. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle sports leader.
Hungry for flavor and value? Then it's Bo time. Nothing slays the hunger beast like some of that bodacious Bojangles flavor. And there's never been a better time to satisfy your Bojangles sandwich cravings than now. With Bojangles Summer Sandwich lineup, you can choose a flavorful Cajun fried chicken filet sandwich, or a tender Cajun grilled chicken filet sandwich, or a crispy Cajun filet club sandwich, or a tasty Bo's chicken sandwich. Make it a sandwich combo and add your choice of a side. Maybe Bojangles seasoned fries, dirty rice, or Cajun pintos. And to complete the perfect meal, Bojangles legendary iced tea. There's a Bojangles sandwich combo for everyone in the family. Summer just doesn't get any better than that. What are you waiting for? You know you're hungry, and you know you want flavor and value. So, it's Bojangles Sandwich Combo time.
My wife and I went to go see Hamilton on Broadway.
It Ain't Right Tour 2024.
Oh my God, it is amazing. We saw it. Oh, it changed me it changed me. Now, as soon as I hear that, I'm like, I ain't gonna like this.
Sebastian Maniscalco, live on stage in Raleigh. PNC Arena, Friday, July 12th. Get tickets now at livenation.com. For more, visit sebastianlive.com.
That'll be 30 even. That's 90 points! Sorry, that was a lot. Now that I'm getting 3 times the points on food and fuel with the Navy Federal More Rewards American Express card, I get a little too hyped sometimes.
Cool. Would you like your receipt?
In the bag! Sorry, in the bag, please.
Learn more about the everyday, everywhere Navy Federal More Rewards American Express card at NavyFederal.org. Navy Federal Credit Union. Our members are the mission. Navy Federal is insured by NCUA.
Hello, I'm John Heister for the Heister Automotive Group. And we're constantly looking for ways to serve you better. One of the ways we do that is with something we call a Go-See. And that's where you select a vehicle from our inventory, and we have thousands, and we get one of our product specialists to bring that vehicle to you at your convenience. How do we do that? Well, it's simple. We have a group of employees that are evaluated based on the number of presentations they do. They're glad to do it. So it's just one more way we get off our keister and bring Heister to you.
Celebrate July 4th with savings at Lowe's. For a limited time, save on the essentials you need to make your garden pop for summer, like Miracle-Gro 25-quart potting mix. Get 2 bags for just $16. And get up to 40% off, plus save an extra $50 on every $500 you spend on select major appliances. Hurry, these deals won't last long, because Lowe's knows summer savings. Valid through 7/10. Miracle-Gro excludes Alaska and Hawaii. Appliance savings vary based on purchase amount. Exclusions apply. See Lowe's.com for more details while supplies last.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. 120,000 miles of night drives, daily commutes, and who knows how many.
Are we there yet?
Through countless fixes, elbow grease, and a new radiator, you kept your ride alive. With eBay Motors, you have over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
The Adam Gold Show.
I saw some video of LeBron, KD, and Steph Curry. The last time we saw something like this was the Dream Team. Michael Jordan, the best player. Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, the 7th best player in the history of the game. This team has LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry. Historically ridiculous.
The Adam Gold Show, weekdays starting at noon on 99.9 The Fan.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. 99 days before the college football season, we started 99 questions about the college football season, and we're somewhere in the 40s now, counting down, the day's counting down. And the question today has to do with College Football 25. The video game is coming out within a week. We're down to just the last couple of days here.
2 weeks from tomorrow, I believe.
I think it's
25th?
earlier than that. Oh, is it the 25th?
I think it's 25th. I'll look it up.
All right, yeah. For some reason, I thought it was the 14th or 15th, but admittedly not as connected into the video game world as maybe I was.
Actually, July 19th, I take this
19th.
back.
All right.
9
so
days.
We're
Let's
both
go.
off. All right, so it's a week and change. They put out the list of the top 100 players in the video game. UNC has 2 of them.
Okay.
Why didn't NC State or Duke get any of the top 100 players in the college football video game?
How dare they?
None. 0. UNC has Amarian Hampton, who's all the way up at the 22nd best player overall, 93rd.
That tracks.
Cayman Rutgers, 56th, 91 overall.
Okay.
Duke has 0. NC State has 0. I have to be honest. Why didn't Duke get any of the top 100 players in the college football game? Because they don't have one of the top 100 players in college football. I don't really see any obvious snubs there. There are some guys, Trey Freeman, I like as an off-ball linebacker. Jaquez Moore, who we talked about his breakout ability. Malik Murphy, I think, could be one of the main candidates for if 4 or 5 weeks into the season they update the rankings. He might be somebody that jumps, but at this point, I don't know you could put him in there. They lost some players that I think would be in the top 100. I think it's kind of fair. NC State, I'm confused. Because we've seen some – well, actually, let me take a step back. I'm confused because I think they're good enough. I think they have players that are good enough. But I'm going to throw this out there also. This is a video game. Some of you might have been screaming that at me already. You might have been screaming, because it's a video game. It's not real. I get it. It's for entertainment purposes. There's a reason why the best wide receiver in the game is Travis Hunter from Colorado. And it's not because he's the best wide receiver in America. It's because he's famous, he's dynamic, and if you're a middle schooler and you're picking a team to play, there's going to be a lot that pick Colorado because of the buzz around Colorado, and they want that to be a fun experience for them. I get it. I just don't understand why they wouldn't make NC State more fun to play with. Who would be more fun to play with than Casey Concepcion? Casey Concepcion, like, he's what part of what I imagine, like, if we knew what the players were instead of, like, quarterback 15 for Tim Tebow, go back and play with some of those teams with, like, Percy Harvin, where you have a guy who you could line up at running back, put him in the slot, put him in motion, give him the jet sweep, give him the screen, give him the deep ball, give him the deep out, give him the deep comeback, give him anything.
Give him the ball 40 times.
Put him back to kick return, put him back to punt return. Have him blocking kicks. I don't know. He was one of those players. Casey Concepcion seems to fit into that deal. Freshman All-American. In many cases, many evaluators had him as the best freshman wide receiver in the country last year, despite dealing with a quarterback situation that at best could be described as fluid. 9 wide receivers made the list of top 100 players. Restrepo from Miami made the list, so there's an ACC representative from the wide receivers on the list. Now, I know I am in favor of using things as motivation, right? You lose a big game, motivation, right? You get left off a list, motivation. I think in a weird way, like, your rankings on college football video games would be more motivating than, like, being left off the AP top 25 or something like that. Because players care a lot more about being themselves in video games.
Well, there's also something tangible that you can see where someone actually gives you, like, a physical number or grade on what your level of play is.
It's actually a good point. It's like
it's something
it is
tangible
a
I can see.
number. To where, like, if a beat writer says something bad about you, it's not like 9.7. It's not B+. Like, this is very much, and it's comparative to your peers.
Exactly.
And it's aggressive. So I'm looking at this and saying Duke should use it as motivation. Heck, right? Like, Malik Murphy should be mad. Like, I was a big recruit, and Freeman should be mad, and all these guys should be mad. If I'm State, I'm using this. And the thing is, you're going to play the game. You're going to play the game. Do you know what the best part about the time when it comes out, like mid-July, which is when it always came out? You had like 2 weeks before training camp started.
Mm-hmm.
So you would go as aggressive as you'd get 7 dynasties in those 2 weeks because you knew you were going to be in bed early and up early and everything during training camp. You actually had some time to play, and you would, create everything and do everything, and that's what players are going to be doing starting on the 19th. And they're going to be constantly reminded every time you are Justin Jolie, tight end for NC State, or every time you are Jaquez Moore for Duke, and you like catch and get into the open field and get caught from behind by digital defensive back for some other team, you're going to be furious that your speed score isn't up. And every time you're open and you time it perfectly, hit the little triangle button and it feathers in there and your digital you drops it, you're going to be mad that you didn't have a better catch score. This is a tangible example of what maybe the public thinks of you. Because the other thing is, like I said, right, Colorado is better on every stat in the game than they are in real life. The best quarterback in the game is Shedeur Sanders. The best wide receiver in the game is Travis Hunter. There's some other pretty good at those positions around the country. But guess what? They're like, oh, you're popular. We'll give you a couple extra.
I mean, I think that's really what ties into all this is the perception of the school that you go to.
So,
like, Ohio State guys are going to get a bump. Alabama guys are going to get a bump. Doesn't mean they're better. Just it's where they play. They're going to get a bump.
So take it as the game telling you nobody wants to play with NC State. We want to make it fun for the teams they do pick and they do play with. No, nobody. That's what they're telling you. How does that not get you motivated? You have all these transfers coming in, all these high whatever coming in. The top quarterback, Grayson McCall, top wide receiver, top tight end, top running back, top offensive lineman. You have all of these transfers coming in, and the game is still looking at you going, yeah, I just don't see it. I just don't see us getting more entertainment value out of giving you an extra 5 overall. Nobody on the team is 91 or more. Yeah, that sounds like something that I would use to motivate myself. And then I would go into edit rosters and boost myself up to 99 everything. And then I'd go in all the Heismans.
Boost this.
Transfer it over to Madden, win a couple MVPs. Be ready for training camp by the time it comes.
Some digital HGH.
There we go. Now we're talking. No rules against it. Get some NIL money digitally. I don't know if that happens. Stream it.
Crypto.
That's funny. But that probably will happen now. Players will be streaming themselves and getting paid for that.
I'm sure.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we move on, here's Dennis Cox.
Sorry, my mic fell over here. There it is. To get everyone's attention. Got everyone's attention. Dennis Cox here with my friends over at Law Tigers. Yesterday I was driving down I-40 and I saw a digital sign that said, hey, motorcycle safety. Be aware of your blind spots. Share the road. Because we often see, when it comes to riding bikes, people that might just ride their bike, around Raleigh or wherever they may live. Hey, share the road, right? And that's something that's very important that we get to make sure that we're cognizant of. That hey, there are motorcycles out there on the road too. Check your blind spots. I know sometimes we have the automatic sensors in our cars, the new technology and those kinds of things. May not always pick up a motorcycle because smaller vehicle, obviously. So make sure you're safe out there on the road when you're driving. But also it's important for us, people who ride motorcycles, that we do all the safety precautions as well to make sure that we are safe out there on the road. But if you are ever injured in a motorcycle accident, this is where Law Tigers comes in. You can do all the right things, whether you're in a car, on a motorcycle, accidents still happen. If you are injured in a motorcycle accident, call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS before you call your insurance company. The insurance company wants to pay you the least amount possible. The Law Tigers, they're riders too. They understand what your bike and your gear are worth and also what you're going through after an accident. They understand everything that goes into riding a motorcycle and what goes into an accident. Your case evaluation is always free, and they do not get paid until your case settles. Call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS, North Carolina's motorcycle lawyers. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. When we come back, ESPN put out their NHL way too early next season power rankings. Where did the Canes land? I'll tell you next.
Move your sports day forward.
Players get gaslit in arbitration. You relive every turnover, every lost battle in the corner, every missed shot, because this is about getting paid. But it's also, on the team's end, about getting under the cap.
Get set up. Join Next Up with Paul Ihander. Mornings at 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Did your mobile provider just increase their prices again? Switch to Spectrum Mobile, the nation's fastest growing mobile provider. With Spectrum Mobile, you get unlimited talk, text, and data, plus nationwide 5G. Switching to Spectrum Mobile has never been easier. We'll pay off your phone balance up to $2,500. Stop dealing with price hikes from your cell phone company. Get Spectrum Mobile. Visit spectrum.com/itpays-to-switch for full details. Offer subject to change. Service not available in all areas. Restrictions apply.
Picture this, the perfect summer barbecue. No stress, no responsibilities, just all your friends, burgers sizzling, hot dogs cooking, Pepsi Zero Sugar fizzing, and a backyard of very, very happy people. Oh yeah, we could get used to this. Very, very used to this. Grilling, better with Pepsi.
For a limited time, get 2 20-ounce Pepsis for only $4.25 at Refuel. So hurry in and enjoy an ice-cold Pepsi today.
Batter up! Theater Raleigh presents Bull Durham, a new musical playing Duke University's Reynolds Industries Theater in Durham, September 10th through the 22nd. Based on the classic movie, the film's original screenwriter Ron Shelton has adapted the story for the musical, so you can follow Crash Davis's Durham Bulls story and his romantic love triangle in a new genre. the perfect blend of comedy, drama, and steamy romance. Get your tickets for Bull Durham, a new musical, today. Details and ticket info at theaterraleigh.com.
Bobby Joe absolutely hated her job.
Can't hate that job any more than I do.
So, time for one of those fancy tech schools?
No, I could never afford that. I'm going to Sharky's.
Sharky's?
Yeah, no better place to relax. Great food, cold beer, good whiskey, darts, billiards.
So now you love your job?
No, I still hate my job, but I loves me some Sharky's. I highly recommend it.
Yeah, everybody loves Sharky's. Sharky's Place, one of the best neighborhood bars in the world. 5800 Durley Road by the Shell Station.
This is Gordon Miller for Miller Lending and Carey. Date the rate, marry the house. A phrase often used by realtors to describe the difference between keeping your new forever home as opposed to your mortgage rate, which you'll only keep until something better comes along, kind of like speed dating. A recent study by the Wall Street Journal further supports this notion by finding the average life of a loan to be less than 4 years. Their suggestion? Find a no-fee loan, which is exactly what Miller Lending has been telling you since 1996. With no closing costs of any kind, you can simply close on today's rates and refinance each time something better comes along. So while builders promote buy-downs with over $10,000 in closing costs, or lenders advertise crazy low rates with even more, Miller Lending continues to be the leader in the no-cost mortgage. So before you throw away thousands of needless fees, pick up the phone and call your local neighborhood lender, Miller Lending and Carey, 919-447-3377, or simply apply online at millerlending.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender, NMLS number 250-2146.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career and they talked to me about it.
He was done in just months.
I did do it online.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months with zero experience at My Computer Career.
It worked for me and I know it can work for you.
It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu.
If Heineken Silver was a 60-second radio ad, it'd tell you all the stuff you need to know in only 30 seconds to keep things light and refreshing. Seriously, time me. Heineken Silver, a world-class light beer that's surprisingly crisp and refreshing, made with only premium quality ingredients and just 2.9 grams of carbs and 95 calories, all without compromising on taste. Heineken Silver, all the taste, no bitter endings. Order now at Heineken.com/silver. Must be 21 and older to purchase. Enjoy Heineken responsibly. Whew. 30 seconds. That's it. Done. Peace.
Hi, this is Renee Chu. The most trusted local news in the Triangle is now on the radio. WRL News Plus. Now get breaking news and severe weather reports on the radio 24 hours a day. Listen on the radio at 96.5 FM in Durham, 99.3 FM in Raleigh, and everywhere in the Triangle at 101.5 HD3.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. By the way, 99.9 The Fan is your place to enjoy the Home Run Derby and MLB All-Star Game. Listen for live pitch-by-pitch coverage starting Monday night at 8, presented by Gatorade. Do we call it pitch-by-pitch for the Home Run Derby? I guess they're still pitches.
Well, yeah.
Soft tosses by soft tosses.
They're batting practice pitches.
Yeah,
They're
all right.
still pitches nonetheless.
We'll count it. Pitch-by-pitch coverage of both the Home Run Derby and the MLB All-Star Game starting Monday night at 8, presented by Gatorade. The ESPN NHL Way Too Early Power Rankings came out, and I thought this was an interesting kind of spot check, vibe check, if you will, for the Carolina Hurricanes. And then it was pretty much exactly where I thought they would have been like at the end of last season. Like nothing has changed this offseason. The Canes are sixth best team according to ESPN's NHL Way Too Early Power Rankings. They're so respected that I don't think there's any possibility of them ever flying under the radar, which is what I was hoping would happen, by the way. I think this team would benefit a little bit from being the hunter rather than the hunted for just like one season here as they kind of look to reset things a bit. Instead, they're the sixth best team according to ESPN right now. Post-draft, post-free agency, sixth best team. Let me be the first to say it if I'm actually probably it's been said before, but let me be amongst those who say it. That's too high. This offseason, for the immediate future, like next season's future of the Carolina Hurricanes, this offseason has not been a good one for them. Now, that's not to say it's been a bad offseason, because you do have to judge things from a front office perspective, equally weighing the now and the future, right? The reason why they didn't break the bank to bring back Jake Gensel isn't because, moving on from Jake Gensel is good for next year. It's because they didn't want to hamstring themselves in the future, right? You have to weigh both. Some decisions you make for the betterment of the future, some decisions you make for the betterment of the now. The decisions they've made have overwhelmingly been to protect the future. Like, name one position they are going to be better at this year than last year. There really isn't one. So it's really, really hard for me to say the Canes will be better next year than they were this year, or even as good next year as they were this year. I guess, Svetch being healthy for an entire year, if you had that magic pixie dust to spread over him and guarantee health, that would be a way.
He's actually going to train for the season, not rehab like he did last year.
But, right, a healthier Svetch, does that make up for not having Gensel, who you had at the end of last year? That's a bigger delta, right? That's a bigger gap. Sometimes I think it's good to appropriately have expectations lower. Allow yourself to develop. How many times are we going to talk about the ways that they might be able to solve the issues they have on their roster? Yesterday, we spoke ad nauseum. We spoke with a couple of the guys that are combined to have like 2 games of NHL experience that might be able to solve one of the problems on the big league club. That's potential. But, potential, there's sayings about potential, right? Potential without production. It used to say, and $3 will get you a cup of coffee, but it's probably now like $8.75. I don't drink coffee, so it seems like it's getting more and more expensive by the day. You look at this team, if you put them 12th, I think it might take a little bit of the pressure off. It might let some of those people that are playing a little tight. I think it's important to be appropriate with your expectations. And if you bring up the NHL way too early top 25, the teams also tell the story, right? I said top 25 like it's college sports. The NHL way too early power rankings. Carolina's over Boston. They're over Nashville, who had the splashy offseason. They had Vancouver, Toronto, New Jersey, I almost said Golden State, Vegas.
Them too.
Warriors. I don't know. Just throwing
they lost Klay Thompson. I don't know how they recovered from that.
Still have Curry.
Depth scoring. Eat it.
I think it's important that we look around and recognize what the Carolina Hurricanes prioritized this offseason. They did not make any kind of all-in move. We've seen teams make all-in moves. This has been more of it is a bummer to do, but in the interest of this program moving into the future, we have to make these tough decisions. That's the theme of the offseason. Proms have themes. It's like Paris at night and like Great Gatsby, right? Like the theme of this offseason, if it were a prom, would be tough decisions, right? It would be not inappropriate. It would be unenjoyable. Brett Pesce, Brady Shea, you moved on from them not because moving on from them makes you a better team. You moved on from them because in the best interest of the future of the franchise, you couldn't reconcile their price.
They couldn't afford them.
Couldn't afford them is not but it's completely justified reason to move on from a player. They're too expensive is a completely justified reason to move on from a player. It's not one that makes you better next year. The players you brought in, whether it's Roslovic, whether it's Walker, whether it's Carrier, Sure, I'm sure they're players you liked when you watched them on film, but part of the reason they appealed to you is they were cheap. They were cheap. Why were you able to bring back Chatfield and Martinook and not Pesci and Shea? Well, because they were $3 million. You were able to keep the cheap ones. This offseason was about being not hamstrung in 2026, right? It was about not having anchor contracts in 2027. It wasn't necessarily about doing everything you can to get better next year. And most teams that are in the top 5, 6, 7 of a professional sports franchise, of a professional sports league, are all in to win. There's going to be 7, 8 teams every year that sniff the cup and go for it. Go for it. The Carolina Hurricanes are not. It actually feels, and I said this in the office the other day, it feels like they're preparing for like a future offseason, right? You see this more in the NBA because you start timing it up, right? It's like, in like 2014, you start going, in 2016, KD, Steph, and LeBron are all going to be free agents, so let's make sure all of our money comes off the books right then. The Canes are going to have money to spend next offseason.
And a lot of it, too.
It would be a little dumb if you're looking at an offseason where you're going to be able to be a top spender and make all the moves and be splashy, to then go spend all of that money right now going all in for this year when you're like, right, have a little bit of patience. It's like, I'll use me as an example.
Okay.
My birthday is early January, okay?
All right.
My Christmas, for everyone, is end of December.
Okay.
Usually, you get a couple, envelopes, a little bit of cash from family members or whatever on Christmas.
Sure.
Most kids take their Christmas money. What are they? They run into Toys R Us or Dick's Sporting Goods or wherever they're going, or Academy Sports, and they're going to go grab all of the toys, right? I was always like, you know what? If I wait like 2.5 weeks, I could get something way cooler because I'm going to get a little bit more cash for my birthday, right? And it was dumb to go spend before the new year on a scooter when I could get a motor scooter, a couple, whatever it is.
Now we're talking.
Like that's what you're looking. That's what the Canes are doing right now. They're going, we could spend and have fun. We could spend and have better next year. Or we could wait, pool it together with all this other money we're going to get next offseason, and then we can go get, the true top end, which is, again, completely okay, justified way to build a team. It's not an okay, justified reason to make them the 6th best team right now going into next season.
I think it's also a compliment to, how they play, their consistency
there
with their roster, and they do have some great top-end players.
Yes. But they had all those players last year.
True. And that's the reason why I think they were like number 1 or number 2 last year going in.
Well, they were the 3rd best record, and they were eliminated in the 2nd round of the playoffs.
Yeah.
So the difference.
My team with the best record.
True, but they're so let's say they were 3rd.
Okay.
3 spots: Jake Gensel, Brett Pesci, Brady Shea, Steph Nason, Teuvo Teravainen. All of these guys are worth 3 spots.
Apparently,
I don't think it was enough. And by the way, I would love it's now if they're the 8th best team in the league next year, feels like they underperformed. I think 8th best would be a good season for them next year.
Sure, yeah, you're still top 10 team in the league.
You're still a playoff team. You're still all these things. I think if you set expectations appropriately, then 8th would be like, heck yeah, look at this. Even in a kind of reset year, I wouldn't call it a rebuild. I'd call it a little bit of a retooling. Even in a retooling year, we're still 8th.
Do you think Carolina, knowing this year, okay, we still have some guys we got to sign. We still got to get Jarvis long-term. Still got to figure out Necas and these kinds of things. Knowing that you have buku of money coming off the books next year. I think I remember correctly, it's like somewhere like $25-ish million.
I mean, we could tally them up pretty quickly.
I mean,
right? You get to the Orlovs and all that. Those are big money contracts.
But no on-air math for you. But
appreciate
nonetheless,
that. Thank you.
But
saving me from myself.
Like some of the guys are going to be leaving possibly after this season. Brent Burns, Dmitry Orlov, Evgeny Kuznetsov. You can fill those positions with your young guys on cheap contracts, and you have a bunch of money you could splurge for like a 3-year window.
We're going to keep talking about this later on in the show, but Rod Brindamore today hinted a lot about young guys getting opportunities.
Oh, yeah.
Eric Tolsky has talked about maybe keeping room for young guys to get opportunities. The year where you're going for the cup, you're usually not like, yeah, let's let them cut their teeth out there.
Yeah.
Let's go, give them some reps to, work out the growing pains. You do that the year before you go for the cup. So then they have all those first jitters, all that growing pains out of the way. Next year, you just have guys on entry-level contracts that you trust because they worked it all out the year before, and then you do what you just said. You consolidate, go big, and you can trust the guys on the back end.
It's probably right where you have Roslovic on a 1-year deal, Robinson on a 1-year deal, Tyson Jost
Stopgaps.
1-year deal. Yeah, exactly.
If by the second half of the season you want to replace some of their minutes with some of the younger guys, you don't feel as bad because you're like, they're out of here in 3 months anyway.
Yep.
6 was a little rich for my blood. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Let's look towards a former Duke football player. Right? I was poking around. Apparently, I was doing a lot of poking around on ESPN today. ESPN put out their list of players that might go number 1 overall in next year's NFL draft. This is very different than this year's NFL draft, where at this point last year it was like Caleb Williams, Drake Maye. What are we doing?
Yeah, it's
and it ended up being 1 and 3. Like, it was pretty close.
It was pretty clear cut.
There was
pretty clear cut.
There was a very obvious top tier, and then Jaden Daniels came out of nowhere to join that top tier. This year, not the same, right? There's not that generational quarterback prospect. There's not that, hey, as long as he doesn't get completely torn apart injury-wise, he's going to be the number 1 overall pick. So there's more of a debate. I think they listed 13 or 14 names in this article that might go number 1 overall.
Really?
Yeah.
It's a lot.
It is. And they broke them down in categories. Like the true front runners, there's like 6. The next tier, need a big season. And then there was this kind of out of nowhere group. And the first name listed, Riley Leonard.
What?
Riley Leonard is riding the potential train again. We here in the Triangle, we've ridden the Riley Leonard potential train.
Yeah.
Right? Last year, we wrote it because he had this running ability that he had shown his sophomore year, and there was always this potential. He has a live arm. He can make all the throws. He just has to do it. And then last year, partially due to injury, partially due to whatever, the arm never showed up. Not to say he didn't make any good throws, to say the production throwing the football wasn't there. Even when Duke was America's darling, the big plays that Riley Leonard were making were with his legs and then the occasional pass, right? He was not throwing the lights out, and you need to be able to do that in the NFL. I'll read part of the article here for you. Seemingly every season, a quarterback exceeds expectations and takes the college football world by storm to rise up the draft board and challenge the top pick. Listed a couple examples. Riley Leonard, Notre Dame, who they give a 2% chance to go to number 1. One of the more obvious candidates. Leonard is now under the tutelage of Mike Denbrock, who helped transform Jaden Daniels into the number 2 overall pick. Leonard has a smooth release and good mobility, but an average arm. How long can Riley Leonard trade on potential? That's what I want to know. And by the way, I'm not blaming Riley Leonard for this. There was a point in time last year where Mel Kiper had him as a first-round mock draft. Now they have him as a potential to go number 1 overall. You look at this, like, the player didn't ask for any of this. So I'm not like, oh, Riley Leonard is so spoiled and is doing this to himself. I'm saying I've always judged, and I say this all the time, I've always judged the best way to judge an athlete at playing a sport is watching them play the sport. Right? If unless there's something crazy going on with like a really bad supporting cast or a really good supporting cast that would buoy or anchor a player, like usually you watch a guy and that is what he is. You watch Jaden Daniels play last year at LSU, guess what you're going to see him do with Washington next year? He's going to run a lot. He's going to be very, very fast, and his deep ball is going to be pretty darn good, but much better if he's throwing to an elite wide receiver. Like, they are what they are. Riley Leonard, we've now seen for 2 years, and we've probably watched closer than most people in across the country because, let's be real, it's not like there's a ton of magnifying glasses pointed right at Wallace Wade Stadium very often, although there was for about a month last year. It's Riley Leonard is at the point where he's got all the potential to do all of this, didn't quite live up to it. He's got all the potential to do all of this, Didn't quite live up to it. And now, once again, everyone's running around going, he's got all the potential to do all of this. And I'm going like, wait a second. Before I buy in, I want to see him do some of it. Because I, as a runner, I'm really excited by him. As a college quarterback, I'm really excited by him.
Likewise.
I need to see more from the passing game in order for me to buy into any percentage chance that he is the number 1 pick in the NFL draft. Because, like, even, like Joe Burrow is the classic example of a guy that exploded his last year in college and went number 1 overall. He still was the same, like, style of player, right? We're asking Riley Leonard to go number 1 overall. He's going to have to be a much more pass-first quarterback. That's just kind of how it goes. That's changing inherently how he impacts college football games. Joe Burrow just got better. He didn't necessarily, like, change his identity.
It didn't hurt that he also had 3 first-round picks surrounding him.
More than that. He had a left tackle, running back,
2 wide receivers.
2 wide receivers. Terrace Marshall went in the second round. Wow. Thaddeus Moss, the tight end, who was pretty darn good as a college player. There was a lot of good there.
Do we think that because he's at Notre Dame that there's the elevated perception of like, oh, well, he's Notre Dame's quarterback now. Oh, but he's got to be good now, right?
There's the 100% if Notre Dame wants him, he must be good.
Exactly.
That used to frustrate the heck out of me in recruiting. The moment like Notre Dame, Alabama, or Georgia, or at the time it was like USC and Florida when I was being recruited. If those teams offered anyone, suddenly they were 5-star, or suddenly they went from a 3-star to a high 4-star, and it literally just like, well, if Nick Saban likes you, we must be missing something. That's why we didn't like him. We were missing something. Last thing I want to talk about here in the first hour, this hour flew by, is what's going on with the Hornets. The Hornets, can you give me one time, Dennis, the Charlotte Hornets? He's on the phone. We'll deal with that later. The Charlotte Hornets. I'll do it myself. The Hornets are taking advantage of being a team that, speaking of, doesn't have the spotlight on them. You may have missed it, but 4 days ago, Miles Bridges signed a 3-year, $75 million deal to return to the Hornets. That is the Hornets taking advantage of being a team that not many people have the spot. There it is. Have the spotlight on. Miles Bridges has a off the court roller coaster that he's been on or put himself on, however you want to look at it, in the last few minutes. In the last few months, weeks, whatever, or probably years. You're saying we have a call on the line, Dennis? Mike from Durham. My phone's not, or my deal's not updating here. All right, well, we'll go to Mike from Durham real quickly here. The reason I was pausing there is Dennis was doing the charades to get me to know what he was talking about because my computer wasn't updating, and I was going, what in the heck is he doing back there? Is this about Riley Leonard? All right, we'll go ahead and roll with Mike from Durham before we get back to the Hornets. Mike, thank you for calling in. What do you have on the Riley Leonard conversation?
Well, Tim, you're probably getting charades because they were like, gosh, this guy's fired up, and he's got to talk to Tim. I was just taken by the take that Riley Leonard somehow hasn't lived up to potential. He's been hurt twice in the 2 years he's played, yes. Until the point in which he got hurt, he basically carried Duke's offense.
As a runner.
But he was a gamer. Like he's got cojones for Miles. He's not a kid. And when he threw the ball, again, you mentioned a minute ago, who he'll throw to at Notre Dame might be a little bit better than who he was throwing to at Duke. And I just think the take that he somehow, I think he and anybody that watches Duke football every week would tell you that the guy overcame his potential. He was more than what people had expected.
Yeah, that to me is insulting his potential, right? Because they're saying that he has the potential to be the number 1 overall pick. He completed 57% of his passes and threw 3 touchdowns on well over 100 attempts and 3 interceptions. Like, as a runner, you're not going to hear me argue with you. But to be an NFL lead prospect, you have to be able to throw the football at a high level.
I am saying, I'm not insulting his potential. What I'm saying is when people looked at him at the start of the year, what they would have expected, twice he made Duke relevant effectively. And again, the defense was good too. But he's at Notre Dame for a reason. He's not at Notre Dame because he can't play, and he's probably going to be a guy that will be drafted high in the upcoming NFL draft if he does not get hurt. But I just think the take that he was somehow less than was a little bit beyond, at least for me. And I just driving down the road, I was like, wow,
No,
I just don't think that's what I watched for 2 years.
I appreciate it. And I'll give you this. There's a difference here between being a top NFL prospect and being a very, very good college quarterback, which maybe I didn't do as great of a job of illustrating as possible. He is a very, very good college quarterback, but a lot of that comes on plays that just don't work in the NFL, right? Like the 40-yarder against Clemson, most electric play
awesome.
maybe of the year.
That was awesome.
I'm pretty sure he gets lit up by a faster defensive end 10 yards downfield on that play. And it's still a good play in the NFL. It's just not a 40-yard touchdown. Like there's different beasts there when it comes to how much you can use your athleticism and how much you can lean on your athleticism as a quarterback. And then once you do get asked to pass, again, the NFL is going to be more – the windows get smaller. The defensive backs get faster. If you're throwing for 3 touchdowns and 3 interceptions in college, it's going to be more difficult to pull that off in the NFL. It's very rare you become a much better player in the NFL than you do in college. We ran over our time on the Hornets. We'll talk about them another time. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 fan. We have football at 4 coming up next. I have a feeling, those Duke fans – are going to be even more upset when we come back because Drake Maye was really impressive at something. Stick around.
It's the summer of soccer.
Swiderski for Capetti. It's stolen away by Hack. Kept alive by Gaines. A shot. He scores!
All the saves.
Polina with brilliant, quick footwork across his 6-yard box to be able to recover and grab the strike from Kubo.
All the goals.
He just sends it back into the area for Swiderski. One touch. He scores!
The Triangle's home for Charlotte FC action. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle sports leader.
Hey, it's Roger Moore, CEO of Loan Pronto. If you're like me, you're getting crushed by rising costs of everything these days. I get it. It's brutal, and credit card rates are ridiculous and going higher. That's why at Loan Pronto, we launched our Express Equity Line of Credit to bring you the relief you and your family need, using your home, your most valuable asset. We've helped thousands of people like you get fast relief with cash. The average homeowner who does this gets tens of thousands in just days and is able to save $850 per month in overall expenses. I'm talking life-changing money. Your money that you have access to right now. Listen, if you're ready to get control of your finances and get off the hamster wheel, call Loan Pronto. You can get approved for Express Equity Line of Credit in just minutes, and we can get your cash in less than a week. Stop digging a deeper credit card hole today. Call Loan Pronto now. 919-381-1760. 919-381-1760. LoanPronto.com. 919-381-1760.
Equal housing lender. NMLS 166-1781. Subject to lender approval. NMLS ConsumerAccess.org.
You're not going to want to miss this. Diamonds Direct summer sale starts next weekend. For 3 days only, next Friday through Sunday, get 20% off. Rings, earrings, pendants, bracelets, and more. Plus, book an appointment and get an additional $100 off. And designers are flying in from New York and LA to showcase their latest trends. That's 20% off, plus $100 off with an appointment and designer trunk shows. Tons of engagement rings on sale, too. 20% off starts next Friday. Details at diamondsdirect.com.
Monster Jam. Massive stunts. All-out racing. Crazy skills. Monster Jam. As big as it gets. The fun begins at the pit party, where you can meet the drivers, get autographs, take pictures, and see the trucks up close. Get your $20 pit party pass at monsterjam.com today. Must have valid event ticket to enter pit party. Restrictions may apply. Rules and activities are subject to change. Visit website for event details. Coming to PNC Arena July 27th and 28th.
Organize easy. Organize tough. Customize your work truck or van with upfit solutions from Van Products. Steel and aluminum shelving, toolboxes, data files, cabinets, drawers, conduit carriers, ladder racks, everything safe and secure. Everything built as unbreakable as you by Adrian Steel. Backed by the best warranty in the business. 3 years, 36,000 miles. Everything custom installed by Van Products so you know it's done right. From a single work rig to a fleet, choose custom installed upfit solutions from Van Products. Springs.
Where'd y'all go last week?
Well, we've been watching our budget.
So no going out?
Oh yeah, we're going out, just hitting all the specials. First, we hit the House of Hops. That's Jerome's favorite spot. Big savings on Monday and Wednesdays. Mix and match craft beer and 25% off on to-go growlers. Oh, it's a great place to relax.
You know, the Mix has some good specials, and they're across the street.
You have to check out their wine tastings once a month and their live music schedule, plus $5 draft beer on Thursdays. Then Saturday, it's salt and lime brunch, and Monday they have $5 margaritas.
Wait, what about Sharky's?
Oh, sweetie, you know Sharky's is special all the time.
So you're just going in a circle. House of Hops, Salt and Lime, the Mix, then Sharky's. House of Hops, Salt and Lime, the Mix, then Sharky's. Sounds like a vicious cycle.
Well, I wouldn't say it's a vicious cycle. More like a wonderful cycle.
Yeah, sounds like a cycle I need to be riding.
House of Hops, the Mix, Salt and Lime, and Sharky's. Definitely a cycle you should be riding. Hope to see you soon.
The next disaster is coming. Make a plan. Keep extra medication on hand. Make copies of important documents. Stay informed and be ready. Learn more at americares.org/send-us-in.
This hour of buzzer-beating, nail-biting, edge-of-your-seat sports action on 99.9 The Fan is powered by
Ritchie Law Firm Injury Lawyers.
Visit GotBryan.com.
That's GotBryan.com.
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on radio, web, app, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. A hot one out there one more time. We have a heat advisory for today. It's going to feel more like 107 with a high of 96 and just a small chance of late afternoon or evening thunderstorms. 75 overnight tonight, and then tomorrow's a little cooler. A high of 93. The heat index will be a bit lower, so no heat advisory likely. And we do have a slightly better chance for storms and then a much better chance for some rain on Friday.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 4 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones is up 442 points. 239,734. Market update brought to you by Pure Hockey. Get ready to unleash your potential this season. Your Wake Forest Pure Hockey store has inventory of the top gear arriving from now through year end. Pure Hockey, your ultimate hockey headquarters.
Let's move the chains. Time for football at 4.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Football at 4. So I'm watching the Hard Knocks offseason Giants last night, the episode that just came out last night. And you've probably already seen part of it, part of what I'm going to talk about, because it went super viral. It was Drake Maye doing his combine interview with the Giants. So the Giants had the 6th overall pick, and they also had Daniel Jones, who's coming back from a serious injury. So they did their due diligence on all the quarterbacks, even though they didn't end up taking one high and they didn't end up trading up to get one. But that gave us an insight into how Brian Daboll, the coach of the Giants, put them through the ringer, right? I thought Drake Maye was the most impressive of the bunch. And it answered this question for me. It showed why Drake Maye was in that first group of quarterbacks. Because if you look at the stats from last year, if you look at the peak seasons for Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, and Drake Maye, Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels had a certain higher level of statistical production, protected the football a little bit better. They each have a Heisman Trophy. I have the numbers here. I mean, obviously Drake Maye was good last year, 34 total touchdowns, 9 interceptions. But both of the others had 5 or less interceptions and 41 or more total touchdowns. So they were in a level above of production. You could argue supporting cast and everything else. But if you were wondering why Drake Maye was in that top group, why it was those 3 as the top 3 picks, go watch the second episode of the Giants Hard Knocks. And then give credit to the coaching staff at UNC and whoever's worked with Drake Maye, Sam Howell, who was obviously there his freshman year and may be a sounding board for him, because he went into that meeting so prepared. Now, let's be clear. It was only clips, right? They're not going to sit there and live stream their 15-minute conversation, which is all it is, 15 minutes, with each player at the combine. But let's say it's a 2-minute clip, 15-minute interview. If you give 4 or 5 minutes of nice to meet you, shake hands with everyone in the room, this is where you sit, here's what we're going to do, they showed us 20% of the interview. Like, it's not like he was there for, 4 days and we got a 20-minute or 20-second clip. It was only clips, but it was a significant amount of what they did. And when I tell you he was good, he was good. It makes me more confident in Drake Maye as an NFL quarterback than I was before. And I was pretty confident in him before. I really liked the moxie and playmaking and intangibles and everything he showed at UNC. But I'm even more confident in the computer he has between his ears. And it was interesting watching Brian Daboll, the head coach of the Giants, keep leveling up with his questions, right? The one that's being compared to a lot online is Jaden Daniels against Drake Maye. And there was a point where you saw Brian Daboll go, all right, Jaden Daniels has messed up a couple times, right? He forgot the protection, calling a playback. He said F in on a route, which would be the F wide receiver, F player, on an in route. And instead, it was supposed to be X in. So Brian Daboll corrected him a few times, and they kind of, just went on with their conversation. Brian Daboll couldn't get Drake Maye, right? He was doing the whole, Razor Turbo, 64 Charlie, X under, F in. I just did it. X in. And then Drake Maye, right back. Ask him questions about the route. Ask him questions about what he's going to do with the read. Ask him questions about the perimeter. Ask him questions about the protection. Boom, say it again. Nailed it. All right, let's introduce something new. All right, we're going to go Linda and Rita, right? Linda to the left side, Rita to the right side. This is what you're going to do in that situation. Boom, 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 boom. And you saw him going back and forth. It was like people playing tennis. It was Brian Daboll kept serving it harder and harder, and Drake Maye kept returning it to the point where it never got to like the, whoa, let's pull it back. All right, let's have a conversation here. It was just him constantly answering the call. And listen, I do not pretend, right? I actually just said a couple minutes ago, I think the best way to judge someone playing football and on how well they play football is to watch them play football. I do not pretend like Jaden Daniels can't be a better quarterback than Drake Maye because he wasn't as good in one little exercise that they were put through by the Giants head coach who's coaching neither of them. But what it does show me is Drake Maye shows up. And what I mean by that is he prepares. You don't think every agent in football knows what Brian Daboll does when quarterbacks go to him at the combine? Every agent that these guys have signed to have had other quarterbacks go through that process, and Brian Daboll is not a spring chicken, right? He was. They kept referencing how he coached Brett Favre. He referenced it when he was talking to Caleb Williams. He was like, "Now, do you ever just gun that thing in there?" And Caleb was like, "Oh yeah." He's like, "Yeah, that's what Favre liked to do too," which, of course, that's what Favre liked to do. But
old guns.
but of course, Daboll, like the scouting report is out there on what he likes to do to quarterbacks. So agents can have you prepared for it, right? He's going to have you draw up a play. By the way, maybe my favorite question to interview a quarterback with. He says, "All right, there's 45 pass plays in a game. For every single pass play for one game, you have to call the same play call. What's your play call?" Right? So we might run the ball 30 times. We're going to throw it 45. You have to call the same pass play on every pass play. Quarterback, what's your play call? I love that for so many reasons. First of all, I love it because you get to watch them draw up a play, right? You get to see personnel. They get to build it from scratch. And then with the same play, you just throw every defense at them. All right, if they play two shell, where's your answer? Right, you said you can run this play 45 consecutive plays, which means if they blitz, if they drop off, if they play man, if they play zone, if they play two safeties, one safety, if they play nickel, dime, you have an answer for everything. So then he has a plate up there, and you go, all right, they play two-man. Right, all right, they put an extra defensive back on the field. Where are you looking now? All right, they're going to blitz. What do you do with the protection? I love it. It allows you to get 500 questions in 2 minutes. Without having to draw up a new play every single time. It's a great question by Brian Daboll. Agents know he asks that question.
I think it's also shows what the comfort level is for the player too. It's like this is like my safe space.
Yeah, true.
You know, it's like hey, I'm comfortable with like only these underneath routes. If I only got to call one, I want this.
Yeah, or sometimes it's comfort with the player. This is where we put Malik Neighbors, and it's like okay, he's a zone beater, he's a man beater, he's a blitz beater. Malik Neighbors does a little bit of everything. There's different ways to take it. But you saw Brian Daboll going, all right, this is someone I can throw a lot at, and they're prepared, right? He came in with a play that he understood, that he knows inside and out, and he's ready to go, right? Sometimes even like pro days and stuff, right? Because what are pro days? They're the underwear Olympics, right? You're in shorts and a T-shirt. Everything's scripted. Everybody looks good. But I kind of look at it as, do you care enough to put together, work hard enough with your wide receivers to be prepared enough to look good, right? The players that show up and are 5 minutes late and they're asking their coach, all right, what route are we throwing next? I'm going like, didn't you rehearse this 10 times? This is the biggest job interview of your life. Going to the combine where most of the top guys don't throw, don't run, don't do the shuttle, don't do any of that, I'm going like, you better crush the interviews. You better be really prepared for the interviews because this is a big job interview. By the way, I think the same thing at regular job interviews. I haven't had the, I don't hire many people in the positions that I've had in my career, but the few times I've had, if they're going like, oh, what's the name of your company again? Or if they're going, like, just a half reference to like, well, as you had on your listing, you're going to ask me to do this. And I'm going like, all right, good. You did some research. Drake Maye crushed he cares about it. And guess what the Giants did? If you go watch Hard Knocks, at least the way they edited it together. Who knows if the timeline was actually this way? Pretty much right after talking to Drake Maye, they were like, we need to go talk to the Patriots about what it's going to take to trade up to number 3. Obviously, they couldn't make it work, but that's a pretty good coincidence. To have us all watch these and go, wow, Drake Maye's impressive. And then suddenly the Giants are like, we got to go talk about trading up to the pick where Drake Maye ended up going. It's a good sign for Patriots fans. It's a good sign for UNC fans who hope he makes $500 million and comes back to donate something.
Well, we talked about, 30 days. Well, now it's 29 days until the Carolina Panthers play a preseason game. It happens to be against the New England Patriots and Drake Maye. So then there you go. We'll get to see all of it.
We'll get to see it all. Don't expect Drake Maye to not know the plays that first day, is all I'm saying. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I want to tell you about my friends over at Capital Financial Advisory Group. And, of course, that means Coach Pete. Well, we were just talking about coaches and how they can throw everything at you. Coach Pete does the opposite, right? He doesn't want to confuse you. He's not trying to see what you know. He's trying to make sure you're informed. They have these big 8-foot whiteboards at Capital Financial Advisory Group, and it's all color-coded with 3 different colored markers. And what that does is it allows you to completely understand what's happening with your money. There are some financial advisors that don't want you to know what's going on with their money, right? Just give it to me and let me do it. Yeah, I'll tell you how much we make or lose. Coach Pete doesn't want that. He wants you to know exactly how much risk you're exposed to, exactly how many commissions or fees you're paying, exactly how all of these financial termites are working their way in or being kept out of the money you have earmarked for retirement. It really is the best way to navigate the journey along the way to and through retirement. Coach Pete has a famous 22-step elaborate and total retirement plan that he looks at, right? The 22 steps are done by them, but he can explain them all to you to make sure you have the confidence and control of your finances that you need. He's committed to helping you retire like a champion, getting you through the financial red zone, over the goal line, and into that retirement end zone. Give them a call at 800-691-3215. They'll hook you up with that retirement plan. But also, if you let them know you heard about it here from me, Tim, on 99.9 The Fan, you'll get hooked up with one of his best-selling books for free. 800-691-3215, or you can text my name, Tim, to 600-700. That's TIM to 600-700. You'll get the plan, you'll get the book, you'll get all the hookups with the text, just like you would on the call. My name, Tim. Text it to 600-700. We're going to take a break. When we come back, it's time for Hit and Quit It and the Storm Trackers. So some sports stories from all over, followed up by the rumors in Canestown. Stick around.
The Adam Gold Show.
I saw some video of LeBron, KD, and Steph Curry. The last time we saw something like this was the Dream Team. Michael Jordan, the best player. Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, the 7th best player in the history of the game. This team has LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry. Historically ridiculous.
The Adam Gold Show, weekdays starting at noon on 99.9 The Fan.
Hungry for flavor and value? Then it's Bo time. Nothing slays the hunger beast like some of that bodacious Bojangles flavor. And there's never been a better time to satisfy your Bojangles sandwich cravings than now. With Bojangles Summer Sandwich lineup, you can choose a flavorful Cajun fried chicken filet sandwich, or a tender Cajun grilled chicken filet sandwich, or a crispy Cajun filet club sandwich, or a tasty Bo's chicken sandwich. Make it a sandwich combo and add your choice of a side. Maybe Bojangles seasoned fries, dirty rice, or Cajun pintos. And to complete the perfect meal, Bojangles legendary iced tea. There's a Bojangles sandwich combo for everyone in the family. Summer just doesn't get any better than that. What are you waiting for? You know you're hungry, and you know you want flavor and value. So, it's Bojangles Sandwich Combo time.
Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9313. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9313. That's 800-575-9313. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Spectrum Internet has enough speed to handle all your needs, so you can work, game, and stream with speeds up to a gig. Plus, Spectrum's advanced Wi-Fi provides enhanced security for all your connected devices. Get Spectrum Internet with fast and reliable speeds, starting at just $29.99 a month with a 2-year price guarantee. Visit spectrum.com/internet for you for full details. Offer subject to change, valid for qualified residential customers only. Restrictions apply.
What are you doing? Eating caviar. Yuck. Get this. Supreme 7 scratch-offs from the North Carolina Education Lottery have the best odds to win $400 with a $4 million top prize. So I'm learning to enjoy rich people stuff.
Okay, let me try. Gross. What's next?
Ballroom dancing.
I'll lead.
New Supreme 7s, a shot at supreme riches. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning are 1 in 4.18. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
If Heineken Silver was a 60-second radio ad, it'd tell you all the stuff you need to know in only 30 seconds to keep things light and refreshing. Seriously, time me. Heineken Silver, a world-class light beer that's surprisingly crisp and refreshing, made with only premium quality ingredients and just 2.9 grams of carbs and 95 calories, all without compromising on taste. Heineken Silver, all the taste, no bitter endings. Order now at Heineken.com/silver. Must be 21 and older to purchase. Enjoy Heineken responsibly. Whew, 30 seconds, that's it. Done. Peace.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
They're still making moves. What I want to decide is if it's busy just to stay busy, just like we're doing something about it. We know something has to happen, so we're working hard. You look in the ant farm, you want to see people walking in lines following each other, right? You want to see work being done. Or if this is actually how they plan on solving the issue.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Text keyword music, MUSIC, to 919-860-5326 for your chance to win a pair of tickets to see Third Eye Blind at Coastal Credit Union Music Park on July 21st. I'm not going to do what I did earlier this week when we talked about the Third Eye Blind tickets. I'm not going to sing you bad renditions of Third Eye Blind
Thank you.
songs.
Appreciate that.
You're welcome. But I will once again remind you to text MUSIC, MUSIC, to 919-860-5326 for your chance to see Third Eye Blind to sing Third Eye Blind songs, which is undoubtedly better.
That is acceptable.
You know what's funny? I was with my in-laws over the holiday, and at one point a song was playing. I forget what it was, but we, like outside 4th of July vibe. Song was over the speakers, and my father-in-law looks at me and goes, "Hey Tim, who sings this song?" And I was like, I don't know. And eventually we figured it out, and I told him, and he hit me with the, "Why don't you let them sing it?" Badoom. Funny part. Nobody was singing the song. It was just like an autopilot. Like whenever he thinks Tim might be singing, we need to remind him that Tim shouldn't be singing. I was like, I was letting them sing. I don't know what's going on with that one.
I wasn't even talking.
Yeah, it was like, all right, sure. It was funny though.
I bet.
It was just an autopilot. Like Tim should not be singing. Which, by the way, if that's your autopilot, if that's your auto default, that's fair. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Let's go ahead and jump into Hit It and Quit It. This is where we line up the biggest stories in sports. We talk about them, we quit them, and we move on. I'll get us started. ESPN, Bill Barnwell, who's kind of like the king of rankings. This guy will rank everything.
And he does a lot of deep dive research and analytics. Like he
oh yeah,
he brings a lot of just, as opposed to like, that team stinks.
Yeah, opposed to this is what I think. Ranked NFL teams. He's of ESPN, by the way. Works for ESPN. Ranked NFL teams by their wide receiver, running backs, and tight ends only.
So the offensive skill guys.
Yes.
Outside of quarterbacks.
Except forget the quarterback and the fullbacks. We don't like those.
Nah.
It's wide receivers. Actually, they'd probably count into running back. Wide receivers, running backs, and tight ends. The Panthers were ranked out of 32 teams, 28th.
Hey, in the top 30. Hey, that's for a lot of Panthers rankings. That's actually kind of high.
It's surprisingly high.
It actually is. That's oh, God.
If we're being honest, 28. It's like, all right, let's calm down.
That is.
People are getting ahead of themselves a little bit here.
That's where we are.
Ahead of teams like the Chargers, ahead of teams like Denver, ahead of teams like the Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
I have to stop there because then I can't say ahead of teams like, because that would mean I've listed all of the teams that they're better than. It's a good sign. It's, for lack of a better term, they're moving in the right direction. I think last year it would have been 0. Or it would have been 32. Now they're a couple spots up. You're moving in the right direction. I think most of the bump comes from Deontay. Oh, they're ahead of the Steelers, by the way.
Either one behind
the Steelers. You're right. I don't know why I got so excited to throw that in your face, just knowing you're a Steelers fan, and then you got to completely reverse it.
Well, you know what the thing is? The top guy for the Panthers is the former Steeler and Deontay Johnson.
I think most of the bump comes from Deontay Johnson and Jonathan Brooks, wide receiver and running back. But, hey, we celebrate progress around here.
Yeah, we do.
Right? The journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. You're up to 28th. And I, by the way, I read all the descriptions. I kind of agree. I think 28 is the right spot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not here to criticize the list. I'm here to compliment the Panthers for getting a little bit better. It's like every time I got sick as a kid, my mom would ask me, give you the medicine and the orange juice or whatever and let you lay down. She would come back and say, are you 1% better? Just tell me, are you 1%? And just saying you're a little better makes you feel better, right? Yeah, okay, I'm 0.5% better. It's like just saying you're moving in the right direction makes you feel like you're making progress. The Panthers are 1% better. Making progress. Now, if they can only get in the top 25 of some kind of ranking, be
progress.
Cooking with grease and gravy. Let's go to quit that for the next one.
I feel great about playing football right now.
You're darn right you do, Dave Canales.
Well, we're actually going to go USA basketball here. So it was announced today, Kawhi Leonard not going to play in the Olympics for USA basketball. He's actually going to be replaced on the 12-man roster by Boston Celtics guard Derek White. Not Jaylen Brown. It's going to be Derek White that's actually going to be playing for USA Basketball in replace of Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard missed, 12 of the last 14 games, if I remember correctly, for the Clippers last season with right knee inflammation. The fact that he was even on the squad, knowing his injury history and past and inability to play on back-to-back games and such, it's just the guy's body, unfortunately, has just been failing him. It's not that he's not talented. It's just his body doesn't hold up anymore.
Here's
which stinks because he's a great player.
I hear it when you're Clippers fans would have been real mad to see him at the Olympics going oh, you're healthy now.
Yeah.
I do think basketball is one of those weird sports where football, if there was a football, American football in the Olympics and your players were playing and they didn't, then I'd be mad. But guess what? If Kawhi is working out this offseason, guess what he's going to be doing? Playing pickup and doing kind of exactly what he would be doing with Team USA.
Yeah.
It's the practice for basketball in the offseason and what you do while playing basketball is very similar.
It's playing basketball.
Yeah, it's whether you're at a Lifetime Fitness or in Paris, you're still getting up and down, playing fives. You're still, playing basketball. It's different than other sports where it's no, when I'm not playing, I'm not playing. So I got kind of why he was there. I understand why he and the Clippers and Team USA agreed for him not to be there. You want to know the real chess and checkers move?
What's that?
Bringing Derek White. Do you know why? Because there's no one in the decision-making trust that I've seen that is connected to the Celtics. The Celtics just had one of those kumbaya runs through the NBA Finals, and they won a championship where, it seemed like they all would play the game and then go out to dinner together, and then their families would hang out. They seemed like buddies. Well, guess what happened today when Derek White was revealed as the guy to make the Olympic team? Jaylen Brown tweeted out 3 emojis of a guy with a monocle. He's looking I think Jaylen Brown probably should have been the pick. I think Jaylen Brown thinks Jaylen Brown probably should have been the pick.
Yeah.
He's the NBA Finals MVP. But his teammate, Derek White, goes. I'm thinking this is Steve Kerr, this is Eric Spoelstra, this is Ty Lue, who are all the coaches on Team USA going, how can we throw a wrench in this very well-oiled social machine that is the Celtics?
We're tinfoil hat now.
I thought, they were halfway to inviting, Peyton Pritchard, who, by the way, was there as Team Select.
See, I figured they would just pull somebody off Team Select. Which
I think
Derek White
it's still early enough.
Yeah.
Their first exhibition's tonight. So I think they still could have pulled anybody. They only had 3 or 4 practices. Cooper Flagg, is that what you were insinuating?
Why not?
By all accounts, he was the most impressive of the select team if they were going to pull from the select team.
By the way, Kawhi Leonard's about to start a 3-year, $150 million deal with the Clippers. Well, how does that feel right now? By the way, he's missed 256 regular season games over the last 7 years, including all of 2021, 2022 with knee trouble. His 68 games that he played this season, the most he played since the 2016-2017 season with San Antonio when he played 74.
At one point in his career, I think it was kind of in Toronto, they basically said, we want him to play 66 games.
Yeah.
Whether he's hurt or not, we want it, that's what we bank on from. And then they won the title. So maybe there's something there. Let's quit that. Let's hit this.
Got him!
I don't even know how to say this without it coming across as a joke when it's
definitely not.
Mike Gundy drinks and drives? The head coach of Oklahoma State had a player, a very good player, Ollie Gordon,
running back,
get a DUI. Maybe the best running back in the country.
One of them.
Got a DUI. And to say Mike Gundy handled it poorly at Big 12 media days is an understatement. We have some of the audio. Here's Mike Gundy on the Ollie Gordon situation.
Well, Ollie's very fortunate that he was able to get out of that situation without anybody getting injured, getting hurt. When they called me the next day, I shared that with Ollie. First thing I said, did anybody get hurt? No. Well, you're lucky. You could have hurt somebody else, yourself, and then you deal with that the rest of your life. I have 3 boys, 29, 23, and 18, 19. We worry about that all the time. Ollie's going to play, and I shared this with Ollie. I said, Ollie, we're in a time where you guys are essentially employees. You guys make lots of money to play this game. It's different than it was 5 years ago. Your punishment's going to be facing the facts. That's why we brought him here today. I said, you're not going into hiding. You're going to face the music. You're going to have to stand up and talk to people and answer questions. And hopefully, more than football, you can learn from the situation you've been in. Because if not, then we have a real issue. But he's going to play.
So that right there is a weird... The punishment is having to go to media day that you would have went to anyway?
Well, I think it's just, hey, we're not going to hide you. You're going to go face the music, go answer the questions about it because you're going to get asked. Go face it. Like,
I'm fine with that in addition to a punishment.
Sure.
But that's not the part where Mike Gundy really fumbled the handling of it. Here's more from Mike Gundy.
So I looked it up on my phone. What would be the legal limit? Like in Oklahoma is .08. And Ollie was 0.1. So I looked it up, and it was based on body weight. Not to get into the legal side of it, but I thought really 2 or 3 beers or 4. I'm not justifying what Ollie did. I'm telling you what decision I made. Well, I thought I've probably done that 1,000 times in my life. And I, it's just fine. So I got lucky. People get lucky. Ollie made a decision that he wished he could have done better. But when I talked to Ollie, I told him, I said, you're lucky you got out light because you make a lot of money to play football.
Did Mike Gundy just admit to drinking and driving what he thinks might be over the limit 1,000 times? Probably some hyperbole there, but meaning,
like the thousands probably
meaning
hyperbole. But
a bunch of times?
Yeah. It's like, I've done that 1,000,000 times.
That's not how you handle those situations.
No, it's not.
Right, and by the way, there's like a very, very easy rule book, or like connect the dots there. You admonish the act. You talk about the seriousness of it. I liked the he's lucky nobody got hurt of it.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure you hammer that home. And you say you can't do it. There are a few things that have extreme rights and wrongs, and one of them is drinking and driving. And the PSAs, the commercials, the billboards, right? Buzz driving is drunk driving. If you're going out, we're going out too. Like all those, right? With the police officers there, like, scanning everything. Like there's college coaches have to be better than that, is essentially what I'm getting at. And now I actually think there should probably be some punishment for Ollie Gordon and some punishment for Mike Gundy.
Yeah, you can't say stuff like that.
Let's quit that. Let's hit this. Let's actually skip the Omari and Hampton and go to the next one there, Dennis.
Oh, about Big 12 fans are angry? Big 12 fans are very angry because we said the ACC is better.
Big 12 fans backed themselves into a bunch of weird corners.
Yeah.
Somebody actually argued with me. And by the way, shout out to we had a good back and forth on Twitter.
Nice.
His name was Matt.
Shout out Matt.
And there's a bunch of others that kind of echoed this, saying that the ACC is Clemson and Florida State in football, and then there's a big gap. Without acknowledging that the Big 12 is Oklahoma, really, and then a big gap. And if you want to put Texas up there as a brand, you can. And do you know what his response was?
What's that?
Oklahoma and Texas aren't the team in the Big 12 that has a win in the college football playoff. And I went, thanks for pointing out you have one win in the college football playoff, and it was TCU right before they got the worst beatdown in national championship history. The fact of the matter is this: Clemson alone is better than anything the Big 12 has to offer in the last 10, 15 years, 20 years, and they're still in the ACC.
Including Texas.
including Oklahoma.
Combined.
You want to know another fun fact? Clemson, in the college football playoff era, Clemson has more wins than the Big 10.
Yep.
So you sure, top end, bottom end, but like every league, I just hate when teams do this. If you take away Florida State and Clemson, what is the ACC? I'm like, if we take away the top two teams from any conference, what are they? Let's take away Alabama and Georgia from the SEC.
What do you got?
You got LSU's one run. Let's take away Texas and Oklahoma from the Big 12. You have one team that's made the college football playoff, and it was TCU.
Take away Michigan and Ohio State.
I'm terrified of Northwestern. Like, I get Michigan State, Wisconsin, whatever. Like, there's certain levels of quality. And in college sports and college conferences, a lot of times it does come down to who's the best in your conference and who's playing well right now. And sure, right now, for the last 10 years, Clemson's been carrying that mantle.
Sure.
But there was a point in time when Virginia Tech was in the top 10 for 10 consecutive years. Point in time where Miami was really darn good. Point in time where Florida State was really good. We know that I don't have to go through each individual year when the teams UNC and NC State have their runs. People know them here already. Like there's heck, Boston College with Matt Ryan was like number 3 in the country one year. There's runs by more. It's just right now Clemson and Florida State hold the flag for the ACC. Let's hit Storm Tracker. I like when the thunder comes in loud in Storm Tracker.
Pops at you, doesn't it?
This is where we look at the rumors, the rumblings, the talking abouts, the water cooler conversations for the Canes. What rumor are we tackling today, Dennis?
Well, the rumor happens to be, it seems like Martin Necas is just going to stick around being a Carolina Hurricane.
Yeah.
So, reports are out there, obviously, during the NHL draft, that the Canes kind of had something lined up for a trade for the 4th overall pick, and Martin Necas was going to be part of that. Martin Necas said, "Nope, I don't want to go. I'm not gonna sign a contract extension in Columbus." Because usually before these trades are made, a GM can talk to an agent, just like, "Hey, we're not going to agree to a trade unless we can actually know we're going to get something here." Also, apparently, said he wouldn't sign a deal if he got traded to Buffalo, if he got traded to Winnipeg. It's like, oh, okay, so you actually you want to stay here? Is that what you're telling me? Here's actually something when it comes to Martin Necas and his restricted free agency, is that the Canes actually own his rights, not just for this upcoming season, but for next season as well.
Really?
So one thing when it comes to NHL in between restricted versus unrestricted free agency, 2 things can get you to unrestricted free agency. You have to be over the age of 27, which he's only 25 right now, and you have to be a pro for 7 years. He hasn't been a pro yet for 7 years in the NHL because he spent his first year in the minors.
So that'll hit
the
probably the same time, right?
So what's that?
They'll play probably similar times, right?
So yeah, exactly, the same time. So the Canes actually control his rights for the next 2 seasons.
That changes a lot.
So it does. So now, because he did file for arbitration, which is set for...
Could be a 1 or a 2 year deal.
Could be a 1 or a 2 year deal. Or, again, the Canes can still negotiate something before arbitration and be like, hey, let's hammer out 2 years or whatever it might be. And then, because if you only do a 1 year deal with him for arbitration...
You could be right in the same place.
You'd be right in the same spot as you are next year.
Let me ask you this.
Okay.
Conspiracy, the tinfoil
hats. Let's go, tinfoil hats.
He wouldn't go full James Harden, would he?
What, like eat so much that he gains a bunch of weight and doesn't want to play? Like
throw a fit until you send him to one of the 4 teams he wants to go to?
I don't know if he would do that.
Because if we believe his dad, when his dad said he wants out, and if Carolina was trying to get him out and he starts turning down opportunities to re-sign with other teams, that would imply that he is trying to direct exactly where he wants to go, right?
He wants control.
Like there might be a few teams that play the system he wants, that have a coach he wants, that have an area of the country. Who knows what his priorities are listed as, that he wants to go, and he's trying to direct himself there. The problem with that, and even more of the problem with that, now that we know he's under Canes' control if they want it for 2 years, is that they don't have to trade him, right? So, fine, you don't want to go to the places where we get a trade that we like offered to us, we'll just keep you. His counter to that would be to go full James Harden, which is what James Harden's done at multiple places of his career, which is just become so much of a nuisance that the team's like, fine, where do you want to go? Right? Talking badly about his teammates in post-game press conferences. You brought it up. Showing up out of shape, maybe a little overweight. Maybe.
I doubt Necas would do that.
Like, what's his move then? To just be unhappy for the next 2 years?
I mean, you could always try and repair the relationship. That's always something you can try and do. And be, hey, look, like this is what your role is going to be here.
I don't know.
What's
usually when you repair a relationship, it's compromise, right? You meet in the middle, right? That's, hey, I was a jerk. You were a little bit of a jerk. I'll say sorry. I won't talk to you that way. You know, don't react in the way you did and understand that I'm trying. But like you meet in the middle. If he again, according to Martin Necas' dad, he wants to be a center and he wants to play on a first-team power play. I don't see the Canes compromising on either of those.
Well, he might be first-team power play this year just with the guys that they've lost.
Maybe that's the concession.
Maybe that's it.
You're right because maybe. And
no Tara Vinen, no Jake Gensel, no Steph Nason. There's 3 power play guys right there.
Maybe you do. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's, hey, listen, we can't meet all your demands. We can't play a second-team center. You're too valuable to us as a winger. We see you fit in our system too well there. But we can get you some more reps with the first unit power play, and we can see if that changes things. Maybe there's the olive branch. Maybe that's the handshake across the aisle to bring them back together. Because other than that, I just don't see where this goes. They're not going to trade him for scraps. They've proven that.
No,
they're not going to trade him for scraps.
Nor should they.
And he's not going to, I guess, just agree to go anywhere that pays a good price because he's turning down opportunities to sign extensions. Maybe that's the olive branch. Maybe that's the deal. He's going to play here, and we'll see him on some first-team power play units, at least early in the season, and see where it goes. Maybe that's it. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Tim Donnelly here for Miller Lending, and, of course, that includes Gordon Miller. They are the home of the no-cost loan. Don't set yourself up to pay costs and fees on mortgages 2, 3, or 4 times as the rates drop, right? Because that can happen. You get a mortgage now, rates are a little higher than you want a lower monthly payment, rates drop, a year from now, you refinance. What does that mean? Well, you paid costs and fees. You paid all the closing costs when you got the mortgage now, and you're going to pay closing costs and fees again when you refinance in a year. But what if rates keep dropping? 6 months from then, you want to refinance again. You're going to pay costs and fees again. 18 months from then, rates dropped again. You're going to pay costs and fees again, unless you use a no closing cost loan from Miller Lending. When you do that, every time you refinance, there's no costs and fees out of your pocket, right? So as those rates keep dropping, as we all hope they do, as they keep dropping, you keep refinancing, you keep lowering your monthly payment, and you don't have to pay those costs and fees out of your pocket in cash every single time. Give them a call. Let them walk you through it. The phone number is easy, 919-447-3377. That's 919-447-3377. Or you can go online at millerlending.com. That's millerlending.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender, and MLS number 250-2146. We're going to take a break, but when we come back, what's next in conference realignment? The Big 12 is talking a big game, and they're threatening us here in ACC country. I say we fight fire with fire. Explain that next.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
There was such an incredible stretch of rom-coms. Where is the how to lose a guy in 10 days of the world? Where's the she's all that? It feels like everything now is just a remake of something else, and it's done poorly.
Well, they did remake She's All That.
I know.
With Addison Rae.
I didn't watch it. We didn't need that.
Unsportsmanlike.
Mornings from 6 to 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Picture this, the perfect summer barbecue. No stress, no responsibilities, just all your friends, burgers sizzling, hot dogs cooking, Pepsi Zero Sugar fizzing, and a backyard of very, very happy people. Oh yeah, we could get used to this. Very, very used to this. Grilling, better with Pepsi.
For a limited time, get 2 20-ounce Pepsis for only $4.25 at Refuel. So hurry in and enjoy an ice-cold Pepsi today.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the 3rd time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu
mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
Adam Gold in studio with my man Sammy Hanna, owner-operator of the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. I tell people this all the time. If I am doing a commercial for somebody, I am vouching for who they are and what they do. You guys do great work, but your customer service stands above all the great work that you do.
Adam, I truly appreciate that testimonial. And yeah, we try to take pride in our customer service and meet and exceed our homeowners' expectations on all their home improvement needs. Obviously, there's many companies out there that do what we do. If you Google home improvements, Raleigh, you're going to get many, many companies. But you're not going to find too many companies out there that have a 4.9 rating and over 800 Google reviews and over 7,000 Guild quality reviews. It takes a lot of work on our part to make sure we meet and exceed all your expectations on customer service. And we're going to continue to do so because that's why we've been in business since 1961.
I have used the Aluminum Company. I have not heard anyone that had anything but incredible things to say about all of you, and that is amazing. That's a testimony to how you guys do it. Aluminum Company of North Carolina, aluminumcompany.com.
Welcome to Staples, young man.
I'm starting first grade.
Aw, well, Staples has crayons, markers, glue.
I need a laptop.
Oh, sure. With Staples Hot Deals, you can save up to $500 on select PCs.
The finances are Mom's department.
Right.
I'm looking for performance, like a Core i7 processor.
Boy, first grade has really changed.
Totally.
Save big on tech for school with Staples Hot Deals with up to $500 off select PCs. Ends 9/14 in-store only for participating stores. Visit staples.com/stores/school deals. Injured in a motorcycle accident? Call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS before you call your insurance company. The insurance company wants to pay you the least amount possible. Law Tigers are riders too, so we understand what your bike and gear are worth and what you're going through after an accident. Your case evaluation is always free, and we don't get paid until your case settles. Call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS, North Carolina's motorcycle lawyers. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
The Adam Gold Show.
I saw some video of LeBron, KD, and Steph Curry. The last time we saw something like this was the Dream Team. Michael Jordan, the best player. Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, the 7th best player in the history of the game. This team has LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry. Historically ridiculous.
The Adam Gold Show, weekdays starting at noon on 99.9 The Fan.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Brett Yormark of the Big 12, the Big 12 commissioner, spoke at Big 12 Media Days yesterday. Threw some barbs at the ACC, some surface level.
Indirectly.
Yes. I don't know. Saying you're one of the top 3 conferences in the country, I don't know if that's indirect. Unless you think he might be talking about the Big 10 not being in the top 3.
Maybe he thinks the Big 10, the Pac-12, and the ACC, the alignment is there. I'm sorry, the alliance. I should say the alliance is there. Therefore, that's just one conference.
Okay, so
the alliance is one conference in the SEC than the Big 12. In that case, he's right.
All right, so maybe thinly veiled, if they were veiled, thinly veiled. But then he's just started kind of outright threatening. And I think the threats were directed towards the ACC, although a bit more veiled. First, let's hear some of the comments from Brett Yormark.
Got 16 great coaches. We've got a lot of star power. When you think about the quarterbacks, you think about the running backs. Many of our programs have been building over the last couple of years. So I think it's only natural and appropriate for us to think that way right now. We were a very deep conference last year, but we got deeper, not with the 4 corner schools. So I'm expecting great things from our schools this year. I think last year we underperformed a little bit, candidly. I don't expect that to be the case this year. Every week will matter, and as I said earlier, November, we will brand the month as a race to a championship, because I think it's going to be really tight this year, and it will take until towards the end of the season for us to determine who will show up at AT&T Stadium for that championship game.
He went on to say he will not stop until they are the number 1 conference in America. He went on to say, when talking about the teams realigning and expanding and having different teams in, I guess you could say we are still open for business. This is not the time to press pause. He described himself as a disruptor, someone who, quote, stirs the pot, and then said college football needs that. I read between the lines. I take it as a threat to the ACC. I take it as I just ruined the Pac-12 once their two biggest schools left, right? As soon as or maybe not their biggest, but two of their biggest, USC and UCLA left, Big 12 was sitting there ready to put them out of their misery and take all the others. I think this was the first of many, many, many expected messages being passed that we in ACC country can expect coming from the Big 12 that says something like this. If Florida State and Clemson can get out, we want the rest. If Florida State and Clemson can get out, we'll be sitting here like, who's the band that sings with arms wide open? Creed. We'll be sitting here like I get Creed and Nickelback confused because they're both like meme hated. Okay. With arms wide open. That's the Big 12. That's what they're saying right now. So guess what? I say for the first time in a long time, the ACC gets proactive.
Okay.
Go try to take Big 12 schools away. Go pick your favorite 4 Big 12 schools and bring them to the ACC.
Okay, well, this actually ties in, and we have on YouTube, on our YouTube live chat, Maddie wants to know, with Oklahoma and Texas gone, who do you consider to be the best team in the Big 12? In this case, who would be the biggest school? Would it be Kansas? I mean, you got the basketball brand.
Nah, their football is not good enough. I mean, football matters so much. From a brand perspective right now, if you could also sign Deion Sanders to a 15-year contract, maybe Colorado.
There you go.
But I would hate the threat of him leaving in Colorado, going back to being Colorado.
Well, there's that.
Maybe like a TCU.
Okay.
Just to further entrench yourself in Texas with SMU.
A team that actually has won in the college football playoff?
They have won in the college football playoff. Maybe one of the Arizonas. I get that. I mean, this probably
Arizona will be the bigger brand of the two, especially in the basketball side of things.
Correct. Gosh, I mean, that's actually a fantastic question. Who asked the question on YouTube?
This Maddie Kearns.
Maddie, way to go. Baylor would interest me. Again, going down into Texas. I've thought that the ACC and UCF are a unique fit for a while. UCF is like
Central Florida.
Yeah, on the low. Has to have money. They have like 120,000 students. They're a commuter school and an online school. They have just, I assume, a boatload of money, which it's all going to come down to money here in the not-too-distant future.
Sure.
What else they got here? I'm bringing up the list.
You already have the recruiting base there in Florida. You already have established Florida anyway with Florida State and Miami.
If they move on from Mike Gundy, maybe Oklahoma State.
Okay.
They've been well-funded by a couple of very, very rich boosters.
Very rich.
West Virginia, I thought, has been a good match for a while, just geographically, and have some rivals already.
There's a rivalry with Virginia Tech already with West Virginia.
They have trophy, Black Diamond
Big
trophy.
Time.
I would just pick and by the way, I'm not picky. I just listed like half the conference. Pick your favorite 4 and just go thinly veil that you're expanding. Right? Why? Like the Big 12 right now is a bit yappy. That's what they're like a corgi. Right? A corgi inside the fence when you're walking your dog down the street. Like you're just hearing them a lot. And I've got a border collie, right? He's like 50, 60 pounds. I walk my border collie down the street. This was at one of the previous places we lived. There were a bunch of corgis, and these corgis would just little yappers. And every time I wanted to just I wouldn't let him go do anything to the corgi. I just wanted to let my dog Blitz off the leash just to run up to the fence and see what they would say when they got nose to nose, right? Not let them inside. Like, that's what I want to do to the Big 12. Right now, the Big 12 is looking at the ACC going like, we're open for business. We're disruptors. Ruff, ruff. I just want to let the dog off the leash for a second to run up to the Big 12 fence and see if they still talk that way. Because I think if you gave most of the Big 12 the chance to jump from the Big 12 to the ACC, to go from, hey, we really like to be aligned with Arizona and Baylor, to, hey, we'd really like to be aligned with the Clemsons and the State and Carolinas and the Dukes and the UVAs and Virginia Techs and everyone in the ACC, they would make that jump. I think they would. So it's like, all right, you're going to threaten us. Like, you know, it's one of the most quoted lines in cinema, and it comes from the cinematic masterpiece Crocodile Dundee. Do you know where I'm going with this? That's not a knife. This is a knife. Like, that's what you need to do. Oh, you're open for business. Oh, we're open for business. Like, that's what you need to do. The ACC has been reactive so many times. Be proactive for me once. You know what I mean? Go be the aggressor once. Anytime you're in a fight, there's a good chance whoever wants to be in that fight the most is going to win the fight. Right? If you're in there trying to break it up while also being a member of the fight, it's not going to work. The one that's out there willing to fight dirty is a lot of times the one that's going to win the fight. Now, if the SEC or the Big Ten wants to talk trash, all right, hey, let's meet in arbitration, right? Hey, all right, let's settle this. Let's meet over a meal and settle this as statesmen. If the Big 12 wants to fight, all right, where, when? Let's start training. I got a UFC gym somewhere I got to go work in.
So you're saying ACC, you know what? Just go ahead and take the fight to him. Let's pillage.
Exactly. Get the high ground.
Don't wait for it to come to you.
You have the high ground.
Take it. Take your dragons. Let's go.
Don't wait to be surprised. You say take your dragon?
Yeah.
Is that a Game of Thrones thing?
It is.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Here's Dennis Cox.
Hey, Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Lone Pronto. Imagine waking up this time next week and being 100% debt-free. I'm talking no credit cards, no car loan, no personal loan. Lone Pronto's Equity Express line of credit can make it happen. Homeowners are turning their home equity into cash almost instantly. With Lone Pronto's AI-based system, you can get approval in about 10 minutes with almost no documentation, no appraisal, and no hassle. You can get hundreds of thousands of dollars out of your home. Use that money to pay off all your other loans. The average homeowner saves over $850 a month doing this. Listen. Your home value is way up. You can use that to wipe out all those credit cards. Get some money for a home improvement. Literally hundreds of thousands are at your fingertips, and approval is just minutes away. Call now, 919-381-1760, 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com, 919-381-1760, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, equal housing lender.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We're going to take a break. When we come back, the starting five, including some hinting from Rod Brindamore about the Canes roster. Stick around.
Move your sports day forward.
Players get gaslit in arbitration. You relive every turnover, every lost battle in the corner, every missed shot, because this is about getting paid, but it's also on the team's end about getting under the cap.
Get set up. Join Next Up with Paul Ihander. Mornings at 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Doesn't the North Carolina Education Lottery Winners Club give the best massages?
I've never felt so relaxed.
Thanks to this month's scratch-offs, this is our life now.
It's like winning again and again and again.
New $80 million cash blowout and triple red sevens mean new winners. The Winners Club awaits. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds winning range from 1 in 4.28 to 9.95. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
You're not going to want to miss this. Diamonds Direct summer sale starts next weekend. For 3 days only, next Friday through Sunday, get 20% off. Rings, earrings, pendants, bracelets, and more. Plus, book an appointment and get an additional $100 off. And designers are flying in from New York and LA to showcase their latest trends. That's 20% off, plus $100 off with an appointment and designer trunk shows. Tons of engagement rings on sale too. 20% off starts next Friday. Details at diamondsdirect.com.
Organize easy. Organize tough. Customize your work truck or van with upfit solutions from Van Products. Steel and aluminum shelving, toolboxes, data files, cabinets, drawers, conduit carriers, ladder racks, everything safe and secure. Everything built as unbreakable as you by Adrian Steel. Backed by the best warranty in the business. 3 years, 36,000 miles. Everything custom installed by Van Products so you know it's done right. From a single work rig to a fleet, choose custom installed upfit solutions from Van Products.
Nothing makes being outdoors better than having the right gear and the right crew. So here's an idea. Let Mountain Dew supply the gear and you bring the friends. Because when you buy specially marked multi-packs of Mountain Dew, you can collect points and earn epic limited edition outdoor gear. So buy Dew, collect points, get gear, and get outside with Mountain Dew outdoor gear.
Open to legal U.S. residents 18+, subject to program terms at dewoutdoors.com and 12/31/24, void or prohibited.
Now at Circle K, get 2 Mountain Dews for just $4. That's 2 Dews for just $4 at Circle K. Do the Dew.
Gregory Pool Equipment Company is hosting a hiring event at their Barrow Road location in Raleigh on Saturday, July 13th from 9 till noon. If you or someone you know is looking for a career opportunity with paid training and a generous benefits package, visit gregorypool.com/careers to learn more.
Hungry for flavor and value? Then it's Bo time. Nothing slays the hunger beast like some of that bodacious Bojangles flavor. And there's never been a better time to satisfy your Bojangles sandwich cravings than now. With Bojangles Summer Sandwich lineup, you can choose a flavorful Cajun fried chicken filet sandwich, or a tender Cajun grilled chicken filet sandwich, or a crispy Cajun filet club sandwich, or a tasty Bo's chicken sandwich. Make it a sandwich combo and add your choice of a side. Maybe Bojangles seasoned fries, dirty rice, or Cajun pintos. And to complete the perfect meal, Bojangles legendary iced tea. There's a Bojangles sandwich combo for everyone in the family. Summer just doesn't get any better than that. What are you waiting for? You know you're hungry, and you know you want flavor and value. So, it's Bojangles Sandwich Combo time.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
There was such an incredible stretch of rom-coms. Where is the how to lose a guy in 10 days of the world? Where's the she's all that? It feels like everything now is just a remake of something else, and it's done poorly.
Well, they did remake She's All That.
I know.
With Addison Rae.
I didn't watch it. We didn't need that.
Unsportsmanlike. Mornings from 6 to 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader. This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm Injury Lawyers.
He scores! What a comeback!
Visit GotBryan.com. That's GotBryan.com.
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on radio, web, app, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm WRAL meteorologist Mike Mays. We're on the lookout for thunderstorms this evening, at least through about 11 o'clock or so. Some could be strong, 75 the low. Tomorrow, our front is in the eastern part of the state. That's where the rain should be. Our high at 94, rain Friday.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 5 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones is up 429 points to 39,721. Market update brought to you by The Good Feet Store. Ready to step into a healthy and active lifestyle? Come to The Good Feet Store and experience the difference. Discover how a simple step can lead to a life of pain-free possibilities.
It's 5 o'clock. Time to serve up the biggest sports stories of the day. Here comes your starting five.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is time for the starting five, and as always, we start with number 5. The Canes Development Camp, Prospect Development Camp, is going on now. Actually, might be done. The 3-on-3 scrimmages started at 4.
Yeah, so they'll probably wrap it up here soon.
Yeah, so they're going at it. But they had some action earlier today, and then Rod Brindamore spoke with some of the media, spoke with Walt Ruff, the team reporter, and a few others. We have some comments here. Here's Rod Brindamore.
There is familiarity with Ghost, like you said. I think with Walker coming in, he's excited to I think, play the way we play. I think most players like the way we play, and they want to do it because we are, I think, up-tempo, and it's a fun way to play. And, there's a learning curve on any team. But anywhere you go, there's going to be different lingo, different way we describe things. But at the end of the day, these guys are good hockey players, and if they have a willingness to get it, they will get it.
So that was about the new players having an opportunity to kind of get the Canes system into their system. But he also said some things about the younger guys, maybe a chance for some others. Here's Brindamore.
It's just a natural conversation with a college coach that goes through it all the time. You get attached to the guys or ladies, whatever, your sport, whoever you're coaching, and especially when we've had them longer than 4 years. And so it was hard. I'll be honest. It was hard to watch guys walk out of here. I understand it. It's a business, and they got to do what they got to do. So, but then it's also exciting because you get a whole new group of guys coming in, and maybe some of these young guys that do crack the lineup and get to work with, and watch them grow. And so that's just the evolution of it.
Is it me or actually, I'll go back to we're going to talk about Hard Knocks in a second here, a couple observations from it, the offseason Hard Knocks that the Giants are on. But one thing I haven't talked about yet is Joe Shane, the GM of the Giants, before he went to the podium, literally at the Combine, right? And there's a big media scrum at the Combine for every GM. Before he went to the GM, and they showed this, he sat down with someone from the Giants media team, like their PR team, and went over, all right, here are the questions you're going to get asked about Saquon. You're going to get asked about Xavier McKinney, who said some things on Twitter. You're going to get asked about the quarterbacks in the draft. What is your answer? What is your answer? And and they were literally don't say that. Okay, say this. Don't say that. Okay, say this. All the way through, hey, and don't forget, when you talk about Saquon, everyone's going to be paying attention for your body language. So make sure you're upbeat. They had that detailed of a prep session before going out to the podium at the Combine. Now, I'm not saying every time I think Rod Brindamore at times would laugh at even suggesting that before he goes and speaks to the media. But I do think that teams have messages that they're like, hey, let's make sure we get this out there. Let's make sure we get that out there. It seems like right now the message that they want to get out is the young guys have an opportunity to crack the lineup, right? Almost regardless of the question, somebody's going to work in. The young guys have an opportunity to crack the lineup. Have to make room for the young guys. This year for the Canes might be some growing pains in this year. I'm not fully convinced of it yet, but I'm growing towards this take. I think they might be building towards 2026. I think or the 2020, whatever, this is going to be the 2024-2025 season. I think they might be building towards the 2025-2026 season. And then it would make sense, hey, Jackson Blake, by the way, speaking of the 3-on-3 competitions, I saw he made a sweet play, forced a turnover, got it back, little backhand pass to his former North Dakota teammate, I forget his name, who found the back of the net. And it's all right, maybe you get that guy some minutes, let him work some growing pains out of his system. Then the next year, you're more trustworthy of them, and you don't need to have so many bottom six forwards on the roster because you trust Jackson Blake to fill that. Same is true for Bradley Nadeau. Same is true for Felix Unger-Sorum, these guys we've been talking about. When everybody is talking about get the young guys an opportunity to crack the lineup, that's usually not what you're thinking when you're all in for the cup. That's number 5. Let's get to number 4.
We are the 4 horsemen. Woo!
Kawhi Leonard withdraws from Team USA for the Paris Olympics.
This is my shocked voice.
It did feel like when they announced Kawhi was on the team, it did feel like, oh, do they not watch the NBA? This guy can't make it through an NBA season. You want him to, fresh off an NBA season, go play another however many practices and scrimmages and exhibition games and games with a tough travel schedule all over the country? Well, he made it about, 3 or 4 days? That's how long he made it. And by the way, I don't even think he got hurt. I think everybody just kind of had a aha moment of like, this guy might get hurt. So they moved on from him. They bring in Derek White from the Celtics. We talked about this. How we were talking about Jason Tatum yesterday, having like a couple month stretch where he could win an NBA championship, have the largest contract in NBA history, then jump straight into the Olympics and win an Olympic gold if they're able to pull it off as the favorites. It's a pretty good couple of months stretch. How about Derek White? Derek White went from, in the last 12 months, like a solid role player in the NBA to a starter. I think he's got like $100-something million contract that he just signed.
Big deal.
Which, Jason Tatum, $300 million is a lot of money, but he already had more money than you know what to do with. Derek White got that moment, won an NBA championship, gets thrown into an Olympic roster, and is now, like, he's the only guy on that team that's not a Hall of Famer. Steve Kerr was calling his Team USA Olympic team. He's the coach. He was saying this is 12 Hall of Famers. Kawhi Leonard is a Hall of Famer, so he gets taken off. Derek White gets the call up. I don't think Derek White's a Hall of Famer, but he's having a Hall of Fame like 6-month stretch. He's now a core component of the Celtics NBA championship team, a $100 million plus player, and a member of Team USA. This guy was a no-star recruit coming out of high school. Not a lowly ranked. He was a no-star.
That's a nowly ranked.
Nowly ranked. Go find the picture of him in high school his freshman year. I was small my freshman year of high school. I think I would have been like, that kid's small. But let's be real. They brought in Derek White because he's an elite perimeter defender. Kawhi Leonard does more than that, but also I think his role on Team USA was kind of going to be elite perimeter defender, and you need a few of those. Like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Dylan Brooks are still on Team Canada. If one of them gets hot, you want to have the person you can just go, all right, go put out that fire.
Plus as well for him, for White, is that he is used to being a role player around stars. And I think sometimes when it comes to these types of teams, these all-star teams, no one knows how to be that.
There's usually, and if you look at the best versions, maybe outside of the first Dream Team, which was a whole other beast, but like there's usually like a Tayshaun Prince. There's usually like an Andre Iguodala, who are very, very good players and at times all-stars. But you can tell, like, you're looking at the rest of the roster. It's like LeBron, Dwayne Wade, Chris Paul, Carmelo, Tayshaun Prince. And it's no disrespect to Tayshaun Prince. It's just something's a little different there. And all that is exactly what you said. Somebody who's used to impacting the game without being the guy getting the most shots. Derek White would be the one that it's like, oh, look at this. It's Steph. It's LeBron. It's KD. It's Anthony Edwards. It's Tatum. It's Derek White. He's still a very good basketball player, better than 99.9% of basketball players out there, but he's on a team with the 99.99999% of basketball players out there. That's number 4. Let's get to number 3.
1, 2, 3.
Speaking of NBA stars, the NBA media rights has some news, and this is, I don't want to call it breaking news because it's not like, everybody pay attention. But
nothing official yet.
It did happen just a couple minutes ago. Dennis was trying to fill me in during the most recent commercial. Dennis, I'll let you fill everybody else in.
So this actually, our program director, Paul, let me know this, is that this according to Andrew Marchand of The Athletic, the NBA reportedly has finalized its media rights deal. The NBA has agreed to an 11-year media rights deal with Disney, so it's ESPN and ABC, Comcast, which is NBC, Peacock, and Amazon. That will be worth $76 billion over that 11-year stretch. That's a lot of coin. Now, the league's board of governors has to sign off and all that kind of stuff. They actually meet, I think, on Tuesday next week. But Warner Brothers Discovery, which is TNT, has been a big part of the NBA, especially over recent years. Apparently, they will have 5 days to decide whether it will attempt to match one of the third-party deals. So it's either Comcast's bid for the quote-unquote league's B package or Amazon's C package. So sometimes these games, depending on the platform, gets what they call like first tier, second tier, third tier, or like first priority choice of games, things along those lines. So a big question is for Warner Brothers Discovery, in this case TNT, is are they going to try and match, Amazon, try and make sure, we don't want Amazon getting in on this, let's try and snatch that, or let's not NBC get in on this, let's take that, because NBC could have games obviously over the air, like for example on WREL TV, they can have games there. Whereas Warner Brothers Discovery can say, hey, well, we actually can put games on TNT, but if you don't have TNT, but you have HBO Max, or in this case Max, we can actually stream our games there. There's a whole lot of different moving parts that comes into this as well. But I will say this, 11 years, Tim, takes them to 2036, when the ACC's grant of rights and their media rights deal is up in 2036.
So what you're saying is just pure media sports chaos in 2036.
I'm just saying, maybe the NBA realizes the ACC's grant of rights is so strong, that's the reason why they're going to go to 2036.
Here's my first thought.
This is a totally off the wall connection.
It's a coincidence.
Having fun here, folks.
Here's my first thought. Please, TNT, match the offer, because I don't want Barkley and Shaq and Kenny and Ernie to be broken up.
That in-studio show is phenomenal.
I want that to be around. I don't care if you get the C games. I mean, half the time I don't think Shaq and Charles watch them anyway.
Nah, they don't. They don't.
So I don't care if you get the C games or the B games. Just have some games so we can have the NBA on TNT. Other than that, you know how I feel about this. I hate having to have 75 different streaming options to find a game. I am in favor of whatever makes it the most consolidated. So when I go, oh, you know what? I would like to watch an NBA game tonight. I don't have to Google where is the Hornets game or where is the Sixers game. And then they're like, well, you got to download this app, pay this fee, and then there's a 7-day free trial. And
So reportedly, according to Andrew Marchand, is that NBC would air games on Tuesday nights throughout the season. So presumably including opening night, which is actually kind of a filler, which actually be good for NBC because the NBA season starts in October, November. When there's football going on, there's that kind of that lull in the middle of the week. It's like, oh, okay, I can flip on. Oh, I can watch live sports. I can get a national broadcast of a Tuesday night NBA game, which would actually be really good for NBC. Whereas I think Amazon would look to probably carry games on Thursday nights after the NFL season, as well as carry games on some Fridays and Saturdays. ABC would continue to air Saturday night NBA, as well as have games on Wednesdays, Saturdays, and Sundays throughout the year as well.
Go ahead.
I say apparently, according to the media rights deal, the way it's presently constructed, is that ESPN would still continue to get the NBA Finals, as well as one of the conference championships, but apparently Amazon and NBC will alternate the finals, like a conference finals broadcast every other year, which means you'll probably have to watch Amazon to watch an NBA conference finals game, which I don't
but
like
I need
the
to have
sound
it
of
for
that.
Thursday night football, which is ridiculous, so I guess we'll just keep it rocking.
I don't want stuff going to just streaming platforms only. I don't like the thought of that.
The other thing that's interesting and everything you brought up is how much money is it?
$76 billion over 11 years. So nearly $7 billion a year. My math is right.
How soon, and this is a ridiculous question, I understand. How soon do we get a player making $100 million a year?
Close.
We have guys making 60, 65, right? Going up and up and up. Obviously, if you get a $76 billion infusion of cash over a 10-year period, if there's any kind of collective bargaining, there's going to be a certain percentage of that has to go to the players.
Yeah.
And
on top of naming rights for arenas and other stuff that goes on, ticket sales,
merchandise sales, concessions, the total profits, right? Total revenue. That is, I feel like that's just a threshold that is going to blow my, $82 million a year sounds like a bananas amount of money. 100 feels like the difference between 82 million and 100 million. I know it's just 18. Feels like $1 billion difference. It feels like so much more money, and I think it's going to happen sooner than anyone thinks.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're going to have a let me think of the player, maybe a Jokic or something, a Luka, somebody when they're 35. Making $100 million a year.
You watch Wembanyama when he's 25 years old.
Shoosh. That's a lot of money.
Yep.
Let's quit that. Let's hit this.
Just the two of us.
I have two reactions that are connecting to the area from watching the offseason Hard Knocks on the New York Giants. Anytime we have good news and bad news, you know which way we go. Give me the bad news first. The Panthers got so swindled by the Giants in the Brian Burns trade. Internally, and by the way, this is the messed up part about it, okay? The Giants on this Hard Knocks revealed that they had talks about expecting the cost of Brian Burns to be a first-round plus, meaning a first-round pick more. That alone right there shows the Panthers got swindled because they didn't even get a first-round pick in the deal, even though the Giants were kind of prepared to understand that's the price. Here's the messed up part. Joe Shane and Dan Morgan are pals. Joe Shane being the Giants GM, Dan Morgan being the Panthers GM. They vacationed together. They worked together for years early in their career. They were both here in Carolina for a long time together. They know each other. They're friends. And guess what Joe Shane did? He let them put that in Hard Knocks. Teams get the final say. They can go in and say, no, please don't air that, because there are certain things like proprietary that they just don't want. They would never let cameras into their facility if they didn't have final veto power on no, you can't show that. Right? You don't want plays being shown. You don't want if there's a certain question that you value a ton in interviewing prospects that you don't want other teams to know about. You have to be able to sign off on things going out there. You don't want to give up leverage in trade situations. Joe Shane is Dan Morgan's buddy, and he went, yeah, you can show me swindling him. You can show me giving him the old razzle-dazzle on the negotiation. I don't know if that's a friend at all. I don't know if that's one that's made up by hey, next time we're in the Caribbean with our families, I got the first 2 rounds of rum drinks. I don't think that's how it gets made up. I think it's made up by no, you owe me a first-round pick. I'm trying to rebuild a franchise down here, and I had a giant trade chip stack in Brian Burns, and you made it so I didn't get the biggest return on it. And I need to get the biggest return on everything because the Panthers aren't exactly a hotbed team right now. The good news from Hard Knocks for connections to our area, Drake Maye looks like the real deal between the ears. His interaction with the Giants at the Combine, at the whiteboard, which is how a lot of coaches really judge quarterbacks. Right? You get to a certain level of quarterback play, every quarterback can make the throws, right? Hey, watch me at the Combine, 3-step drop, here comes the deep comeback. It's yeah, everybody can do that. A lot of times what separates the players is what's between their ears and their ability to play under pressure. A Combine interview, there's a lot of pressure. They threw it at him. They threw everything at him. They threw him the complicated questions, and he was firing back like a tennis player returning serves. He strikes me as a player. I wouldn't be surprised if he was an elite tennis player growing up. Seems like one of those guys. That's number 2. Let's get to number 1.
The one!
So Martin Necas has been the story, one of the stories, not even just the Canes offseason, of the NHL offseason.
Oh, it's been a big-time conversation for a lot of people for weeks.
Seems like every team has been connected to him for a little bit. After all of that, is he just going to stay?
He might.
Now, I'm not saying that's the wrong decision, right? Because if you don't get the trade offers, there's some reports out there that he isn't agreeing to extension, sign contracts, long-term deals with the teams that the Canes did work out trades with. If it doesn't add up, it doesn't add up. You don't force it and get rid of a player who's valuable just because. I mean, he had a 70-point season a couple seasons ago.
Yeah, it's not all right, you know what, fine. A bag of pucks and a skate sharpener.
Yeah, you don't just settle for it. But I have to admit, it will be a little anticlimactic. If after all of that, where's he going to go? Half the league is interested. They're fielding calls about this pick and that pick, and this team's going to put together a package. Could it be a goalie? Could it be a goal scorer? Could it be a defenseman? Could it be a bunch of picks? Could it be? And it's just actually,
no,
nothing. And I'm not saying you're accepting nothing. I'm saying no movement. That's pretty disappointing, right? But the other side of the coin is he is a talented player. And I've been sitting here screaming, who's going to score on the second line? If you get peak Necas, if somehow you do reach across whatever hostilities you have between player and team, and you mend those fences, and you get the good version of Martin Necas' skill set, is he the answer? Is who's going to score on the second unit? Can we finally look at it and go, Martin Necas? If you put Necas around Kuzi, if you put Necas around Drury, if you put Necas around Roslovic, I guess, like whoever the second team center is going to be, if you put Necas there, it makes that center better. If it Kokaniemi.
Well, we thought that last year with Kokaniemi because he was start off the year with Necas and Svechnikov flanking him.
Do we go all like 100% rehabilitation team, like building their value back up team, and you put Kokaniemi and Necas next to each other again and say, hey, maybe it'll be better this year. Maybe all you needed was time. I think that might be the best option as the roster is constructed right now. That probably says something about how the roster is constructed right now.
Possibly.
But Necas on a wing, Kokaniemi in the middle. We can talk about who's on the other wing. We can have a cage match in training camp to see who gets to be the other second liner.
All right.
And ride with that. But where's the flaw? If Necas is coming back, is that what we're expecting? I think it's good to say out loud now so we can fully wrap our heads around it by the time it happens. Because if you told me a month ago that that's what the second line would be, I'd be going like, wait a second, we're talking about buying out Kokaniemi, talking about all the different places Martin Necas is going to be traded. You're telling me neither of them left? Yeah, that might be exactly what we're telling you. That might be literally word for word exactly what we are telling you. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I want to tell you about my friends over at Capital Financial Advisory Group. Get your very own total and customized retirement plan. And I think that's what I call it, total and custom. I don't think you realize how everyone's financial needs are different, or at least I don't emphasize it enough. You might realize it, but I want to emphasize it a little bit more here. Your financial needs are different than mine, are different than Dennis's, are different than your neighbors, are different than your kids' teachers, are different than your coworkers. Everybody's financial needs are different. You're bringing in different amounts of income. Your lifestyles are different. Your expectations for retirement are different. That's where Capital Financial understands you want something completely customized to your wants, your needs, and what you are looking for out of your money. It holds true in the financial arena just like it holds true in everywhere else. So don't settle for a boilerplate, one-size-fits-all plan from some other financial planner. Coach Pete and the fiduciary planning team at Capital Financial can help you build that plan free of charge. You just have to let them know you heard about it right here, and they'll do it free of charge. So call the phone number 800-691-3215 and tell them you heard about it from Tim on 99.9 The Fan. That's 800-691-3215, or you can text Tim, T-I-M, to 600-700. That's Tim, T-I-M, to 600-700, and they'll take care of you. Right now, we need some numbers game contestants. We still have Monster Jam tickets, right? That's what we're giving away. The winner of the numbers game will win a pair of tickets to see Monster Jam at PNC Arena on July 27th. To win the tickets, you got to play the game. To play the game, you have to call in. To call in, the number is 919-860-5326. That's 919-860-5326. Numbers game coming up.
The Adam Gold Show.
I saw some video of LeBron, KD, and Steph Curry. The last time we saw something like this was the Dream Team. Michael Jordan, the best player. Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, the seventh best player in the history of the game. This team has LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry. Historically ridiculous.
The Adam Gold Show, weekdays starting at noon on 99.9 The Fan.
Pre-order the new Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 6 and Z Flip 6 powered by Galaxy AI with Spectrum-free anytime upgrade. Use Circle to search with Google to see more and search more on the large Z Fold 6 screen. Or capture perfectly framed pics using FlexCam and Z Flip 6. Pre-order through Spectrum and get up to $1,000 off, plus double the storage on us. Hurry, offer ends July 23rd. Visit a Spectrum store or SpectrumMobile.com today. Offer subject to change, valid for qualified residential customers only. Service not available in all areas. Restrictions apply.
Paid for by government. Did you hear? A secret hoard of 1904 $20 Gold Liberty coins have been found. These gorgeous 1904p gold coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck, and less than 500 of these gold coins are available. Coin experts are calling this secret U.S. gold coin discovery a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and you can own a piece of the hoard. When you call, you are guaranteed a 1904 Gold Liberty struck at the iconic Philadelphia Mint. With limited availability, you must call now. These 1904 dated gold coins are still in uncirculated condition with brilliant luster. That is 120 years of history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-895-7664. Call now and you'll receive a free bonus, a $75 value free with every order. Call 1-800-895-7664 now to secure your 1904p $20 Gold Liberty coins before they sell out. That's 1-800-895-7664.
Picture this, the perfect summer barbecue. No stress, no responsibilities, just all your friends, burgers sizzling, hot dogs cooking, Pepsi Zero Sugar fizzing, and a backyard of very, very happy people. Oh yeah, we could get used to this. Very, very used to this. Grilling, better with Pepsi.
For a limited time, get 2 20-ounce Pepsis for only $4.25 at Refuel. So hurry in and enjoy an ice-cold Pepsi today.
Theater Raleigh presents Bull Durham, a new musical playing Reynolds Industries Theater in Durham, September 10th through the 22nd. Based on the classic movie, follow Crash Davis and his Durham Bulls story in a new genre. Details and ticket info at theaterraleigh.com.
Bobby Joe absolutely hated her job.
Can't hate that job any more than I do.
So, time for one of those fancy tech schools?
No, I could never afford that. I'm going to Sharky's.
Sharky's?
Yeah, no better place to relax. Great food, cold beer, good whiskey, darts, billiards.
So now you love your job?
No, I still hate my job, but I loves me some Sharky's. I highly recommend it.
Yeah, everybody loves Sharky's. Sharky's Place, one of the best neighborhood bars in the world. 5800 Durley Road by the Shell Station.
Tim Donnelly here from my friends at Zero Res. And if you're like me, you love to DIY, right? Do it yourself, save the money. I can tell you from experience, they Zero Resified my house, and you can't get it this clean by yourself with the carpet soaking machines or anything else you can rent. Go ahead, give them a call now, 919-995-0000, and ask for the station special. That's the 99.9 The Fan special. Get 3 rooms Zero Resified starting at just $109 and get a free hallway done on top of that.
Move your sports day forward.
Players get gaslit in arbitration. You relive every turnover, every lost battle in the corner, every missed shot, because this is about getting paid. But it's also, on the team's end, about getting under the cap.
Get set up. Join Next Up with Paul Ihander. Mornings at 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
All of us have a role to play in promoting a mental health friendly workplace.
Whether we're a CEO, manager,
coworker,
or someone with a mental health condition ourselves.
So what can I do to help?
Learn more at whatcanyoudocampaign.org.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Time to play the numbers game. We have Fernando and Clayton and Tyler and Durham on the line. And one of them will win a pair of tickets to see Monster Jam at PNC Arena on July 27th. As always, we have to start with a question to see who goes first. We'll start with Fernando. Fernando, the USA men's basketball team plays their first exhibition tonight. And there's some news with Kawhi going off the team. So I'll ask you this. What is the best event to watch in the Olympics? Could be men's basketball. Could be anything else. What is your favorite event to watch?
I would say the most interesting to watch is the track and field, just because it could be anybody's day for that.
Could you be a little bit more specific, like what event in track and field?
I'm going to go with the hurdle one just because I went to high school with someone who's trying to qualify for it. So just going for her on that.
All right, there you go. Fernando and Clayton. Now we go to Tyler and Durham. Same question to you with some Olympics action kind of picking up here. What is your favorite event to watch?
I prefer to watch men's basketball. I think you said you're a 76ers fan, so this won't help I don't even know why I'm saying it, but half the Celtics team is on the men's roster this year. I'm a Celtics fan, so I'm looking forward to watching them.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, I like that you kind of fell on the sword of your favorite team. I respect it, but you knew that wasn't going to get you picked, right?
I'm going second anyway. Second to get picked first often.
All right, there you go. Fernando and Clayton, you get to go first. Are you ready to roll?
Yes, sir.
All right, the categories are NFL E, which are all players whose first name starts with the letter E. NFL Dubs, all players whose last names start with the letter W. NBA current players only, or NHL Canes and Whalers only?
Let me try for NBA current players only.
All right, we have NBA current players only. I will give you the team and the player. You give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. There will be 30 seconds on the clock. You have one pass if you need it. Do you have any questions before we get started?
No, sir.
All right, your time will start when you hear the horn. Chet Holmgren, Oklahoma City Thunder.
7.
Correct. Derek White, Boston Celtics.
4.
Incorrect. James Harden, Philadelphia 76ers.
13.
Incorrect. Derek White, Boston Celtics.
9.
Correct. Austin Reeves, Los Angeles Lakers.
12.
Incorrect. James Harden, Philadelphia 76ers.
11.
Incorrect. Got 2 right? All right, 2 right. You got Chet Holmgren with 7. You got Derek White with 9. James Harden, Philadelphia 76ers, says number 1. Austin Reeves with the Lakers, number 15. So you were kind of close to both. But you got 2. Solid, kind of middle of the pack. You have a chance here. Ties do go to you by way of going first. So we'll have you sit on the line here and see if it holds up. That brings us to Tyler and Durham. Tyler, are you there?
I'm here.
You would have gotten Derek White, I assume, on that one, being a Celtics
I would have.
It's also not bad defense by Fernando. When you hear someone talking about how they're an NBA fan to then pick NBA first, taking it off the list, that's solid gamesmanship. The categories remaining for you are NFL E, NFL Dubs, and NHL Canes and Whalers only.
Do NFL Dubs.
All right, these are all players whose last name starts with the letter W. I will give you the player and the team. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. There will be 30 seconds on the clock. You have one pass if you need it. You need 3 for the win. Any questions before we get started?
Nope.
All right, your time will start when you hear the horn. J.J. Watt, Houston Texans.
99.
Correct. Doug Williams, Washington Redskins.
Pass.
Kurt Warner, St. Louis Rams.
13.
Correct. Javonte Williams, Denver Broncos.
34.
Incorrect. Rod Woodson, Pittsburgh Steelers.
32.
Incorrect. Doug Williams, Washington Redskins.
17.
Correct. Javonte Williams, Denver Broncos.
20.
I don't know what you said with that last one, but you didn't need it. So we'll roll with it. Javonte Williams with the Broncos wears number 33. Rod Woodson, the Pittsburgh Steelers Hall of Famer, wore number 26. But you got J.J. Watt with 99. You got Doug Williams with 17. You got Kurt Warner with 13. We also would have accepted 10. I didn't know that he wore another number. That was probably early on. Either way, 3 is enough for the win. So congratulations, Tyler. You're going to see the Monster Jam.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much.
Again, that's a pair of tickets to see Monster Jam, PNC Arena on July 27th. Congratulations. Sit on the line. Dennis has some info he needs to get from you. That was, by the way, I'm always looking for more strategic ways that players can get better at the numbers game. I don't know if it was intentional by Fernando, but it is smart to listen to the answers that they give at the beginning. And if your opponent tips their hand on what they are a fan of and you get to pick first, maybe you play a little defense, pick the category that they're best at, right? If I were to say, what's the best Olympic sport to watch? And somebody answers with, I know it's a Winter Olympic sport, but I love hockey, and hockey would be the best because I love the Canes. Well, if you get to pick category before them, maybe you go NHL, Canes, and Whalers only, just so they can't. Got to always be thinking, you know what I mean? Always finding a way to get that extra leg up, get that extra advantage. By the way, we talked about this earlier, but the inspiration for the Olympic news is the men's basketball team, Team USA, plays their first exhibition tonight. They're playing against Canada. It's late night. Must be on the West Coast somewhere. It's like 10:30 or 11 o'clock. But Kawhi Leonard withdrew from the team, and Derek White of the Boston Celtics is now on Team USA for the Olympics. So he'll be joining the LeBrons and Stephs and everybody else.
Their odds of winning probably have not changed.
Yeah.
Nor should it.
They're the favorite. But don't get me wrong. The team they're playing tonight, Canada, is probably a second betting favorite. They've got a squad. The only thing they don't really have is size. And do you know what the problem is with that?
What's that?
Zach Edey turned him down.
Really?
Zach Edey said it because he's Canadian. He said, I'd rather play in G League and try to establish myself with the Grizzlies. What team is he on? Grizzlies?
Yeah, Memphis.
So he's playing in Summer League rather than the Olympics.
Interesting.
Could have been the size that maybe gave Canada a little bit of a
actually turning down the Olympics. If
bold
I had the
decision.
chance to play in the Olympics, I'm going to play in the Olympics. That's also me
Yes.
personally. I'm like, I have my whole life for a professional career. Maybe in 4 years, he's like, okay, I'll go play for Canada then. But still,
Yeah, but you never know. Like you might be popping now. You don't know if you'll be popping in 4 years. from
exactly.
now.
You don't know what's
If
going to
you're
happen
up and
between now
down in the
then.
G League for the next 4 years, Canada might say thanks, but no thanks. There might be some 17-year-old that 4 years from now is going to be 21, drafted, second year in the league, taking your spot. But yeah, now I expect them to kind of get bullied by Embiid and Anthony Davis when they play the Americans and Bam Adebayo. But Zach Edey wouldn't match him 1-for-1, but he's at least 7, 4, and 5 fouls. You know what I mean?
Alter shots.
He's at least big. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Here's Dennis Cox.
Hey, Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Law Tigers. If you're a motorcycle rider, whether you've been riding for decades, a few years, a few months, or even maybe just getting to ride a motorcycle, looking to do it for the first time, head over to lawtigers.com. Again, lawtigers.com. Scroll on down their homepage, and you'll see something called the Free Rider Benefits Kit. Now, this is something that if you're a motorcycle rider, you should look at getting because you should know what your rights are as a motorcycle rider. You should also know maybe what the laws are here in the state of North Carolina because every law is different in terms of what state you're in terms of what you got to do for registration, passing a test, the proper helmet and things that you're supposed to wear, how you display your plate. Every state is different. So you might be new here in the state of North Carolina looking to ride for the first time. There are different laws in every single state. Go to the Free Rider Benefit Kit. It is something that is there for you because here's the thing with Law Tigers. They are motorcycle riders too. They are a part of that group. They're part of that family. So if you get in an accident, they know what your bike is worth. They know what your gear is worth as well. So if you're injured in a motorcycle accident, call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS before you call your insurance company. Insurance companies, they want to give you the least amount possible. Whereas, again, Law Tigers, they're riders too. They understand what you're going through after an accident. Your case evaluation with them is always free, and they do not get paid until your case settles. So call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS, North Carolina's motorcycle lawyers. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan, will be back with a little conversation about the Canes prospects. They're finishing up Canes development camp today. How did they go out with a bang? Stick around.
Hi, this is Renee Chu. The most trusted local news in the Triangle is now on the radio. WRL News Plus. Now get breaking news and severe weather reports on the radio 24 hours a day. Listen on the radio at 96.5 FM in Durham, 99.3 FM in Raleigh, and everywhere in the Triangle at 101.5 HD3.
Ready to unleash your full potential this season? Then head to Pure Hockey. We've got inventory of the top gear arriving from now until year end. So don't miss your chance to score the best selection of sticks, skates, and gear for on or off the ice. At Pure Hockey, you'll also experience industry-leading personalized skate fittings with the newest in advanced 3D scanning technology. So get ready to dominate in the newest skates for the season. Plus, our rewards program is unbeatable. Head to your Wake Forest Pure Hockey store plus 2 other nearby locations and start earning today. Pure Hockey, your ultimate hockey headquarters.
They say consistency is the key to success. They weren't wrong. So how about grabbing a beer that's consistently smooth, consistently refreshing, and consistently light, you might just find that the road to success can be pretty enjoyable. Michelob Ultra, the perfect balance of taste and refreshment, and only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With Venture X, earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy and turn everyday purchases into extraordinary trips. Plus, receive premium travel benefits like access to over 1,300 airport lounges where you just check in and chill out. Open up a world of possibilities with Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
What are you doing? Eating caviar. Yuck. Get this. Supreme 7 scratch-offs from the North Carolina Education Lottery have the best odds to win $400 with a $4 million top prize. So I'm learning to enjoy rich people's stuff. Okay, let me try. Gross. What's next? Ballroom dancing. I'll lead.
New Supreme 7s, a shot at supreme riches. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning are 1 in 4.18. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
You're not going to want to miss this. Diamonds Direct Summer Sale starts next weekend. For 3 days only, next Friday through Sunday, get 20% off. Rings, earrings, pendants, bracelets, and more. Plus, book an appointment and get an additional $100 off. And designers are flying in from New York and LA to showcase their latest trends. That's 20% off, plus $100 off with an appointment and designer trunk shows. Tons of engagement rings on sale too. 20% off starts next Friday. Details at diamondsdirect.com.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Go to hims.com/joy. Through HIMS, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, and the process is 100% online. To start your free online visit, go to hims.com/joy. That's HIMS.com/JOY.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career and they talked to me about it.
He was done in just months.
I did do it online.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months with zero experience at My Computer Career.
It worked for me and I know it can work for you.
It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu.
There's a price war in the insurance business, and you may be paying too much. Call the Term Lifeline right now and see if you can save 40%. $500,000 plans and up, that's our specialty. Even great smokers rates. Protect your family today. Call the Term Lifeline right now for a free quote. 866-509-TERM. 866-509-TERM. 866-509-TERM.
The Adam Gold Show.
I saw some video of LeBron, KD, and Steph Curry. The last time we saw something like this was the Dream Team. Michael Jordan, the best player. Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, the 7th best player in the history of the game. This team has LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry. Historically ridiculous.
The Adam Gold Show, weekdays starting at noon on 99.9 The Fan.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we go on to the conversation that I want to have here about the Canes prospects, for those of you that are Team USA men's national soccer team fans, Greg Berhalter?
Yeah.
Out as U.S. men's national team.
Oh, that's big
coach.
news, actually.
Is it?
Yes, and very much so. Very much so.
He is no longer the head coach.
That is a massive thing.
I'm seeing this from Fox Soccer per Doug McIntyre, who is Fox Sports soccer reporter, and many other publications are also saying that. So again, I don't pretend to be, know what you know what you don't know. I do not pretend to be an expert in soccer, but it seems like what happened here is the Copa that they've been participating in, they didn't make it out of group stages.
Yeah, which is a massive failure.
And that's kind of like a fireable offense, it appears like a little bit.
Yeah.
Especially because with the World Cup coming up in the not-too-distant future and it being on American soil, it's like if you're going to make a change, it has to be now in order for that to whoever's next to have a chance to get things in order by the time that comes around. So,
well, that's huge news. In the world of soccer, that's massive. By the way, do you know Canada's coach is an American? And they made it.
But I think we've had like Germans be our coach.
Well, yeah, but still, it's the fact that you see an American coach take our neighbors north of the border to the semis.
I see what you're saying.
And you get bounced in the group stage.
So why don't we just go hire that guy?
Maybe.
I was going to say, like, now obviously the most important decision becomes who do they hire next. But my point is going to be, but I couldn't possibly have a list. Now I do. I want that guy.
Yeah, him.
We have to have more resources and better players in Canada.
You would think.
So we should be able to just go name. What's your price, right? We're Team USA. We got to, if we're not using our advantages,
say, hey,
what
man,
are we doing?
Come home. Come home.
It's got to be cold up there, right? We train in California or wherever we train.
Yeah. Train everywhere. By the way, the Copa America semifinal that the U.S. would be playing in, had they advanced to that point, should be playing in, is at Bank of America in Charlotte.
Would have been cool.
Would have been awesome.
So now we're going to have
it's Colombia versus Uruguay.
Colombia versus Uruguay. We've already done this because they lost to Uruguay.
Mm-hmm.
Uruguay has about 3 million people in population.
Mm-hmm.
U.S. has about 333 million, and we lost to them.
I think Uruguay as well. Here's the thing with them is that it's like woven into their blood. It's just part of their culture, of their country.
We don't have 1% of our sports-loving fans that like basketball, or sorry, like soccer. All we need is 1%, and we match Uruguay.
Yeah, I know, but it's
1%
woven into the fabric of their society.
It doesn't. Well, yeah, woven into 3 million people's society. We just need it woven into 6 million, 2% of the population. If they're all in on soccer, we double Uruguay's. Listen, you never want anyone to lose their job. You never I always feel weird when you're even speculating on who's on the hot seat and stuff because it's people's jobs. So you never want to metaphorically dance on someone's grave once they lose their job with Berhalter, or Berhalter, I don't know how to pronounce it. But it seems like, this is kind of a college football power conference coach who's lost a couple games to FCS schools. And it's like, well, you're just kind of aware that's how it goes, right? If you lose those, you're going to get fired. You can lose to Alabama and Georgia. Those we can understand. You can't lose to Austin Peay, right? You can't lose to Albany, right? There's differences here. So, yeah, if Team USA was losing to, I don't know, like a Mexico or something else in the Copa, I'm sure it wouldn't be this way. But you lost to Panama and Uruguay.
Uruguay, I think, was ranked 14th, I think.
They got 3 million people.
That's fine. I don't care. Their talent's talent.
We should win. And that's the surface level soccer conversation that I can have. Go Pulisic. Can he be a player coach?
Maybe.
But anyway, if you're just tuning in, there's some news that was breaking as of recent with the head coach of U.S. men's national soccer team, Greg Berhalter. He is out as the head coach of United States men's national soccer.
Tune in noon tomorrow here on The Fan. Adam Gold will have a full breakdown for you.
Maybe, actually, you know what? This is a good time to plug our YouTube, 99.9 The Fan. He might not be able to wait that long. He might be chomping at the bit. You might see something on YouTube. Now, that is not a promise. That is not like, hey, it's scheduled. I know Adam enough to know that he might have some thoughts he needs to fire off as soon as he hears that news.
Well, I do know Adam tonight is doing a Canes Corner podcast live on YouTube, so don't be shocked if there are some comments.
Just a couple little references. I don't know how he's going to work it in. That should be
he'll find a
game to watch at home. Like, how many times does he mention Team USA soccer? That would be funny. But he will not continue. Greg Baldwin will not continue as United States men's national team soccer coach. Multiple sources. I first saw it from Fox Soccer, but it does seem like there's a ton of other reporters and everything that are on it. I don't know who was on it first, so you do you. Last couple minutes here. Canes prospects are played 3-on-3 this afternoon. I think you learned more from that than you did from the rest of, like, as far as who's ready to play from that, than you do from the rest of the skills camp. The rest of the skills camp, development camp, was important. It was a lot of drills. It was a lot of skill development, obviously. They're fun. Today, I think, is more like game day, right? It's like a spring game, right? It may not be a game, but you treat it as such. I've talked about this before. The spring games, when I was in college playing college football, before I played in real games, felt like your heart would be going. You'd be nervous. They were big deals. Then you play in real games for a season. You come back for the next spring game, and it feels like, oh, it's just a scrimmage. Like, it's that way. But for the prospects, like 3-on-3 in front of Brindamore and Tulski and everybody, you're trying to make your point. And whoever did today was open to fans. They're the more likely to go ahead and crack that lineup. And, Walt Ruff put out a highlight of Jackson Blake, so I'm going to go ahead and say Jackson Blake had a good day.
There you go.
One clip out of all the scrimmages. Maybe it doesn't tell the full story, but it was a nice play by Jackson Blake. The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. Before we move on, I need to tell you about my partners over at Fox & Bailey, the watch shop located inside Bailey's Fine Jewelry at their Village District location. The shop is awesome. I was over there just a couple of days ago and getting some watches serviced, and every time you're there, you get lost. You meander over into the Fox & Bailey watch shop. You look down. All of a sudden, you're looking at the largest selection of pre-owned and vintage Rolexes in North Carolina. And you're talking about the Submariners, the Explorers. You're talking about the iconic watch faces and dials and bezels that you can recognize from across a room. You talk about the colorways, the ones that have nicknames, like they're that kind of iconic, and they have an awesome selection, again, of pre-owned and vintage Rolexes, the largest selection of pre-owned timepieces overall, but also the largest selection of pre-owned and vintage Rolexes in North Carolina. So if you're looking for something specific, head over to the Fox & Bailey watch shop located inside Bailey's Fine Jewelry at their Village District location in Raleigh. You can see if they have it. They might. If not, you can put yourself on a wait list. They'll let you know when it comes in to town. It is that kind of place that likes to take care of you, and they'll do so even more if you let them know you heard about it here from Tim on 99.9 The Fan. So when you're stopping by, make sure you pass that along. Say, I heard about it from Tim on The Drive. With that being said, Overdrive is coming up next, where we learned through a behind-the-scenes video that Dan Morgan and the Panthers got fleeced even further. We talked about it earlier. We'll play it for you again. We'll be back with Overdrive next. Have a great night.
Move your sports day forward.
Players get gaslit in arbitration. You relive every turnover, every lost battle in the corner, every missed shot, because this is about getting paid. But it's also, on the team's end, about getting under the cap.
Get set up. Join Next Up with Paul Ihander. Mornings at 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Hungry for flavor and value? Then it's Bo time. Nothing slays the hunger beast like some of that bodacious